Part 161. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1602. After breakfast the next morning, Tan Shuhen and Zhang Chen sat in the cafe of the Moon Bay Hotel, looking out at the Xianan River and the Moon Island in the river, as well as the Rainbow Bridge across both sides of the Xianan River. This afternoon, they will sign an agreement to jointly build the Yongchengwu Opera Troupe Performance Co., Limited with the Yongcheng City Culture, Broadcasting, Tourism and Sports Bureau and the Yongchengwu Opera Troupe's Enterprise Transformation Leading Group. The leaders of the four groups in Yongcheng City will, after attending the ceremony, to witness the transformation of Yongchengwu Opera Troupe and Yongcheng Cinema Theater officially kicked off. Tan Shuhen sat there, absent-minded. What she was worried about was the sales of Splendid Imperial Mansion. It was not about how important the sales of this property were to Splendid China. Even if the entire property was sold out, it would take up the entire year of Splendid China. It will not even reach 1/1000th of the sales volume. From the perspective of sales volume, it is really nothing. Tan Shuhen values it because it is the first project launched after they implemented strategic transformation. The success of this project directly determines whether their judgment on the market is correct. It is also a test of the water temperature for these county-level cities in Zhejiang. Yongcheng as a whole is a latecomer in the Hangcheng area, with a GDP only higher than that of Chunnan County, which has Qiandao Lake. When placed in Zhejiang as a whole, its ranking is a little below average. The success here is beneficial to their layout in Zhejiang as a whole. It has a very important reference value. If it succeeds here, it will not be a problem in other districts and counties in the Hangcheng area. That's why Tan Shuhen attaches great importance to this place. Of course, it is undeniable that this is her hometown after all. Now that she has returned, she still has the vanity of returning to her hometown in fine clothes. If she comes back by herself, she ends up being a squib in her hometown. It doesn't look good on her face anyway, right? Their other projects in Yongcheng will also have adverse effects. Compared with other counties, they put more emphasis on Splendid China in Yongcheng, which is understandable. After all, Tan Shuhen is a celebrity in Yongcheng and is familiar with everything. When she comes back, she will naturally receive more preferential treatment, not to mention there are Zhang Chen's blessing. Tan Shuhen asked Zhang Chen, "You counted the 3 days on your fingers. Is today the third day or the second day?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "How many days has your Jingxiu Yufu opened?" "Today is the third day." "That's the third day." "Ghost," Tan Shuhen scolded, "what about sales? Where is the sales you are talking about?" Zhang Chen laughed and said, "Tan Shuhen, you are too impatient. It's only around 10 o'clock now and the third day has just begun. Why are you anxious? How about we start gambling again?" "Get out," Tan Shuhen cursed. As soon as she finished speaking, Tan Shuhen's cell phone rang. She looked at it and saw that it was from the sales department of Jingxiu Yufu. She quickly picked it up. On the phone, the sales manager's voice was trembling when she spoke. She said, Sold, Mr. Tan, we just signed a contract. Is it true? The house payment has been paid." When Tan Shuhen heard this, she felt ecstatic, but she immediately calmed herself down and asked, pretending to be relaxed, I've handed it over, Director Tan." The manager was almost crying as he spoke. The past 2 days have been a torment for Tan Shuhen, and it has been even more torturous for the sales manager and their entire sales department. Every day, they receive people one by one to view the properties. The guests always had great expectations and talked dryly, but in the end they all ended up disappointed. The blow after blow almost made them fall down. Everyone's nerves were tense. At this time, the sales finally started, which could be said to give them an outlet for their emotions instantly. Tan Shuhen said calmly, "Okay, I understand. After she finished speaking, she hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone, Tan Shahen saw Zhang Chen smiling at her. Tan Shahen couldn't help but laugh. She looked around and saw packs of xylitol in the sugar bowl on the table, and picked up a pack. Back, he threw it towards Zhang Chen on the opposite side. Just when Tan Shahen hung up the phone with the sales manager, someone came to call the manager. Manager, manager, there is a customer there, and he said he also wants to sign an agreement. The manager walked out and saw that it was an old face. He had been here almost every day for the past 3 days and would look around their sand table every day. But when the salesperson walked over and wanted to say something to him, they all shook their heads and walked away. But when their salesperson introduced the real estate and room types to other customers, he stood aside and listened attentively. The manager had noticed him a long time ago. Now that he heard that he was going to sign the agreement, the manager was not surprised at all. In the past 3 days, he should have understood the entire situation of their real estate and had no contact with their sales staff. He doesn't want to be influenced by them, he is making his own judgment, fighting with himself in his heart. The manager has seen such customers and knows that either they don't make a decision, and once they decide, the 9-headed cow cannot bring them back, whether they decide to buy or not, it's the same. What made him decide to buy it now must have been the fact that he had just seen a customer sign the agreement, which made him make the final decision. The 3 days he was here were also 3 days of hesitation, 3 days of war between heaven and man. It can be said that there were 5 waves of whether to buy or not to buy. What attracted him must be this real estate. It was indeed different from other real estates in Yongcheng. This community alone is more beautiful than all the parks in Yongcheng. Moreover, all the houses sold here are existing houses. This is what Tan Shahen had thought of in advance. She knew that the consumers in the lower counties were not comparable to those in Hangzhou. The consumers in Hangzhou had been trained by the real estate developers for their annual housing fairs. There are many things that you don't need to say, they know it themselves, even better than your sales lady and husband. When they see a property brochure, they can see the situation of the property. For consumers in the lower counties, it is the first time they have seen a community like Tan Shahen's Jingxiu Yufu, and the inside of the house is also likewise. If you just draw a picture of a cake and show it to them, they won't be able to imagine the taste of the cake. You must have something real to put in front of them. This is why Tan Shahen decided that the first project they launch in each of the following places must be for the sale of existing homes, and they must also make good model homes. Use real things to shock home buyers, and your selling price will be the best. If you go up, word of mouth can be created immediately in the local area. This person has also visited the model house here several times with other guests, as well as the conditions inside the house. It can be said that he knows everything about it. He had to admit that the houses in this community were indeed the best in Yongcheng, not the second. And the thing that made him hesitate to make a move was of course the price of 10,800. Did you think it was so exaggerated? It was more than twice as expensive as other houses nearby. This was really in his heart. There is no bottom. What prompted him to finally make up his mind was indeed because someone just bought it. If someone bought it, it means it is worth it, and it means that he agrees that it is right. On both sides of the scale, even an extra straw can determine the final tilt. He therefore decided. The manager walked towards him with a smile on his face. There were many onlookers like him, and the news of the sale of splendid royal mansions spread like wildfire among these onlookers. In the afternoon, Tan Shahen, Zhang Chen, and Ding Begu signed the agreement, and the signing ceremony was over. While everyone was celebrating together at dinner, Tan Shahen looked at her cell phone that had been set to silent mode and saw a missed call from the sales manager. Tan Shahen called back. The manager's voice was still trembling, but it was cheerful. Her speech speed was much faster, indicating that she was very busy there. Sold, sold, sold again, Mr. Tan, we just signed another set. This is the 12th set, the manager said excitedly. Tan Shahan said, okay, I understand. Tan Shahan thought for a moment and said to the manager, in this case, your sales department will immediately issue an announcement saying that today and tomorrow, the selling price will be 10,800 square meters. Starting from the day after tomorrow, the price will be adjusted to 11,800 square meters. Ah, the manager was surprised, and she said hesitantly, Dr. Tan, this. Tan Shahan said firmly, you organize your language and announce it right away. The manager said yes. The moment she hung up the phone, Tan Shahan herself was stunned for a moment. She felt that she really looked like Lu Ligan just now, and Tan Shahan herself also laughed. Zhang Chen walked towards her and asked her what was wrong. Tan Shahan told him about the sales situation of Jinxiu Yufu and told him about her decision just now. Starting from the day after tomorrow, the price of Jinxiu Yufu will be adjusted to 11,800 square meters. The square meter will be increased by 1,000 yuan. Zhang Chen glared at her and cursed, Tan Shahan, are you possessed by a humming pole? Tan Shahan laughed. The next day, Tan Shahan and Zhang Chen had a busy day. They visited many relevant departments and received many visiting guests. Including Jason, they have all arrived. This was Zhang Chen's idea. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan said that the agreement was signed. Now everyone is waiting, eager to see their political achievements implemented. We must act quickly. Fast not only reflects the sincerity, also shows strength. Tan Shahan agreed with Zhang Chen, so she asked Jason and the others to come over and start planning and designing the 4-star hotel on the land of Yongcheng Theater. Xiao Wu and the people from the Yongcheng Culture, Broadcasting, Tourism and Sports Bureau office went to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to apply for the Industrial and Commercial Business License of Yongcheng Wu Opera Troupe Performance Co., Limited, and naturally they got the green light. Tan Shahan didn't ask about the affairs of Jinxiu Yufu all day. The sales manager was too busy all day and had no time to call Tan Shahan. He even finished the lunchbox intermittently. Along with so-and-so buying a house in Jinxiu Yufu, the news was widely spread, and the news that surprised the people of Yongcheng was that the price of the house in Jinxiu Yufu increased within 4 days of its opening, and it will be sold out tomorrow. $1,000 more expensive. This news stimulated those who were still hesitating, and everyone rushed over immediately. When they arrived at the scene, they saw that so many people were already here, which heightened everyone's sense of urgency. The person who bought the second house yesterday came again today and asked the manager to buy a second house. Similarly, many business owners in the town below also heard the news. They quickly drove their cars and traveled dozens of miles to get here. Many of them had already decided on their future home after visiting the house a few days ago. If you want to move to Yongcheng City, your children will of course have to study in the city's school. Of course, you can't miss this house. Thank you. Daos Hung 123, Yuengzi, Northwest Swordsman Big Beard, Knife 130, 2 fish 1 up and 1 down, for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Yuengzi, Daos Hung 123, Hua and young man, San Ran Daxia, my heart is falling for you, I always thought I would be seconded, stand by time, Rainman, Zionk J, Dugan Little Fatty, no future, just remember the original intention, I197900607, it's not an impossible world, why can't I change my name? The Fish-Eating Brother, Zipanjiang 1, Book Friend 20210109105822605S Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1603. The sales manager of Jinxiu Yufu not only eats the lunchbox intermittently, but also has no place to eat dinner. Originally, they get off work at 5 o'clock every day, and the unit does not provide dinner. But today, they couldn't get off work at all, and they couldn't send anyone out to buy food. It was almost 7 o'clock in the evening, and everyone hadn't eaten yet. My hand was sore when I signed the agreement, but it was no use. There were still people in the sales department, and I didn't know when the signing would be completed. The difference between a house today and tomorrow is only over 100,000 yuan. It is useless to let these people who came here today go off work. The sales manager almost cried. Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen, after having dinner with their guests, decided to come to the Jingxiu Imperial Mansion to have a look. Tan Shahen didn't even know that the sales department was still working overtime at night. When they got busy, whether it was their Yongcheng branch, the general manager or the sales manager of this project didn't even have time to report. Besides, what else do I need to report on good things? I am busy, and I am almost tired when I cry, but I am happy in my heart. From the manager to everyone below, their commissions are related to sales. Everyone, even if they are hungry, they want to sign more. A set is just a set, and signing it means money to them. Is money so easy to earn? But at least for them, the sales girls, they feel that money has never been so easy to make as it is today. There is a story about someone who accidentally broke into a cave and found a mountain of gold, silver, and jewelry inside. This person desperately wanted to get more, but in the end, he didn't get anything. Because the gold, silver, and jewelry he was carrying were too heavy and he was reluctant to throw them away, he was crushed to death by these treasures. The manager feels that they are very much like this person today. When Xiao Wu drove to Jingxiu Yufu, Tan Shahen was startled. She saw that the whole community was brightly lit. Those who came to buy a house wanted to see the model houses after seeing the community, and they also wanted to see the model houses for themselves. It turned out to be the responsibility of the sales department to accompany customers to view the houses they purchased, but they simply didn't have the time today, so the security guards were responsible for showing the houses to customers. The community was bustling with activity and there was a constant flow of people, and it was impossible to think about it without the lights being brightly lit. When Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen arrived at the sales department, they were even more shocked. It was full of people, and people kept coming. Tan Shahen and his colleagues, Mr. Feng, the general manager of Splendid China Yongcheng branch, saw them and hurriedly greeted them. When I came here, he even lost his voice. Only then did Tan Shahen realize that they hadn't even had dinner. Tan Shahen quickly asked him to send a security guard and went with Xiao Wu to the KFC in the Cultural Plaza to buy food. How many sets have been sold? Tan Shahen asked. More than 260 sets, Mr. Feng said. Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen were both shocked. There were only 396 houses in Jingxiu Yufu in total. Looking at the people waiting at the sales office, there were more than 300 houses today. There are still people coming. Mr. Feng shook his head with a wry smile, but he was sweet in his heart. We are all calling each other. Some people know that this place is still open tonight, and they said they have to catch up from below, and they are still on the way. Among the people buying a house, there were 3 or 4 people who knew Tan Shahen. When they saw her coming, they came over and asked her for help. It was not about asking her to help with discounts, but asking her to help arrange the signing of the agreement first. With this look, everyone, we all know that discounts are impossible. Tan Shahen looked at Mr. Feng. Mr. Feng understood. He whispered to them, "Don't ring. Go to the second floor to the general manager's office at the top. I will arrange for someone to sign for you first." Those people quickly walked away. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen said, "Let's go, this is a wrong place, there is no place where you can stay for a long time." Tan Shahen quickly said, "Okay." Tan Shahen knows many people in Yongcheng, and she is afraid that if she stands here for a long time, people will keep coming to her. The two of them walked out. Xiao drove off to buy KFC but hadn't come back yet. The two of them simply walked out of the community and went for a stroll by the river outside. The water of Xianan River is warm in winter and cool in summer, and the entire riverside is shrouded in fog. However, it is a winter night after all. Apart from them, there is no one else on the entire riverside. The two of them wrapped their clothes tightly and walked in the fog. They couldn't go very far. It was too cold, so they walked back to the splendid imperial mansion and happened to see Xiao Wu coming back. Xiao Wu stopped the car and moved food inside with the security guard. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan quickly got into the car. The car was very heated. The two of them fell asleep after sitting for a while. It was also daytime today. It was so busy that the two of them fell asleep without even realizing it. Xiao Wu came out of the sales department and saw that they were all asleep in the car. Xiao Wu did not call them, but left the car parked with the heater on, and walked back to the sales department by himself. Tan Shahan and Zhang Chen were woken up by the sales manager. She told Tan Shahan, "Dr. Tan, it's past 12 o'clock, and there are still more than a dozen people in the sales department who refuse to leave. They must sign the contract and ask for a contract of 10,800. I called Mr. Feng, and Mr. Feng said I asked them to come back tomorrow, but they just refused to leave. Fortunately, I met the driver and he said you were in the car, so I came." Tan Shahan said yes, if you work harder and help them complete all the procedures, they will sign the contract at a price of 10,800. They have been waiting all night, and it is unreasonable for them to come over tomorrow. The manager said yes. By the way, I told everyone to hold on a little longer. Now that everything has been signed, I'll treat everyone to a supper, Tan Shahan said to the sales manager, who smiled and said yes. This Mr. Feng, I'm still here, and he actually slipped away. It seems that this guy can't be used. As soon as the sales manager walked away, Tan Shahan said to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "They don't know you are in the car outside." Tan Shahan shook her head with a straight face and said, "This is not a question of my presence or absence. In a situation like today, he should keep an eye on the scene. Zhang Chen, let me ask you, whether it is Kioxin, Xiaoli, Ji Ling, or the original Zhao Zhigang. Okay, in a situation like this, will they go back first?" Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, "That's definitely not the case. Like Zhao Zhigang before, even if only one workshop in the whole factory was working overtime, he would stay with them, even all night long." "Yes, it is," Tan Shahan said, "in this situation just now, if I was not here, he was not here, and he didn't understand the situation, so he just gave an order to ask so many people to come back to sign tomorrow. If they come to sign tomorrow, the price will not be the same. Tell them clearly. They have been waiting all night, and they may have become emotional at that time, so it's hard to say what happened." Zhang Chen nodded. He also felt that on a day like today, it was really outrageous for Mr. Feng not to be there to watch. This guy must be addicted to mahjong, and relying on his own support, he is a little forgetful and confident. "No, I must understand clearly," Tan Shahan said. "What's his backer?" Zhang Chen asked. "His brother-in-law is the director of the Yongcheng Land Management Bureau. He came to be the general manager. He was introduced by his brother-in-law. He turned out to be the vice president of Tianyuan Real Estate. Didn't their boss escape and lose his job?" Tan Shahan said. "Then you have to be careful, Tan Shahan. In a small place like this, the relationships are intricate. If you don't do it right, you won't offend just one director, but a whole bunch of people." Zhang Chen said, "You said he is addicted to mahjong. Come up, maybe he is still playing mahjong with his brother-in-law right now." "I know, I won't be so impulsive," Tan Shahan said and opened the car door. "You continue to sleep, I will go down and cheer them up." Tan Shahan got out of the car and left. Zhang Chen turned around and continued to sleep. Tan Shahen walked into the sales department and saw that the huge sales department hall was now spacious. Except for 7 or 8 people waiting to sign the contract, everyone else had left. Tan Shahen approached and the sales girls saw her. Although they were very tired, they still subconsciously stood up straight. Tan Shahen smiled and greeted them one by one. Tan Shahen walked into the sales manager's office and asked her, how many sets were sold today? The sales manager said, it's almost sold out. Including the ones that haven't been signed outside, 338 units have been sold. Tan Shahen nodded and asked, by the way, when did Mr. Feng leave? I didn't pay attention, it should be around 9 o'clock, the sales manager said. Tan Shahen cursed the bastard in her heart, but asked in a joking tone, is he going to play mahjong after get off work? I don't know about this, the sales manager laughed, but he does like to play mahjong. Not all men in Yongcheng are like this. In the evening, it's either mahjong or red 5. Tan Shahen said yes. Indeed, Yongcheng people like mahjong and playing cards too much. By the way, Mr. Feng usually plays mahjong. Where is his base? They all seem to be at Director Cheng's house. I've heard him brag that he does it in the safest place. Several directors are with them. The sales manager said. Tan Shahen nodded, thinking, it seems that Zhang Chen's guess was right. While talking to Tan Shahen, the sales manager was sorting out today's house sales contract and the buyer's information. Tan Shahen remembered it and said, show me the information of the first person to buy a house yesterday, and I will see who is the first person to buy a house in Yongcheng. The sales manager smiled and said yes. She stood up, walked to the cabinet on the side, opened the cabinet door with the key, rummaged through the rows of file bags inside, found a file bag, and looked at it. Then he handed it to Tan Shahen and said to her, hey, that's him. Tan Shahen took the document bag and opened it. Inside was the house sales contract, as well as the loan agreement and a complete set of information about the home buyer. Tan Shahen looked at it and said to the sales manager, lend this to me and I will return it to you later. The sales manager said yes. Tan Shahen took the document bag and went out. Tan Shahen walked to the parking lot at the door and got in the car. Zhang Chen was still asleep. Tan Shahen picked up the document bag in her hand and patted Zhang Chen's head. Zhang Chen suddenly woke up and saw that it was Tan Shahen beating him and scolding him. Road. Are you looking for death? I'm not looking for death, I'm looking for someone, Tan Shahen said. Let me ask you, who is Wu Jianlin? Zhang Chen sat up straight and asked confusedly, what Wu Jianlin, how do I know who you are talking about? Pretend, Zhang Chen. Pretend again. Come on, open your dog eyes. Here is a copy of your ID card. Come and take a look. I don't know his name. You know you, Zhang Chen. Tell me, is Wu Jianlin, the first person who came to buy a house yesterday, Xiao Wu's brother-in-law? Why do I look more and more like him? Tan Shahen asked. Zhang Chen chuckled, and Tan Shahen said, I was also surprised that Xiao Wu left after breakfast yesterday. Where was he going? It turned out that he brought his brother-in-law to buy a house. What do you mean, Zhang Chen? Zhang Chen smiled and said, I calculated with my fingers. The people of Yongcheng have been hesitating for 3 days. What they need now is a big brother who takes the lead. As long as the big brother who takes the lead pierces the window paper, they will follow up immediately. How about it? Tan Shahen, am I accurate? Go away, Zhang Chen, I'm telling you, I won't refund this money, Tan Shahen said. I didn't ask you to retreat in the first place. This is what Xiao Wu and Xiao Xin bought for Xiao Wu's father to live in. His father is old and is alone in the village. They are not worried. When they get here, Xiao Wu's sister can live there every day. Take care of him, Zhang Chen said, I just helped them pay the down payment. From now on, Xiao and the others will pay the monthly mortgage payment themselves. Thank you book friends 20210410153124786 and 0HJKLG for your rewards. Thank you Laozi, Conceit, Little Gatekeeper, WXD121, Kenshin Shui, LCS0001, George Shao, and book friend 1611222135011799 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1604. Jason went to the Yongcheng Theater to see it live. He also went to the Rainbow Bridge, climbed up the mountain, and observed the location of the Yongcheng Theater from across the river. Yongcheng Theater is at the head of the cultural square, which is rectangular. At the other end of the square are dozens of steps. If you go down the steps, you will reach the Xianan River. The entire plot of Yongcheng Theater is also a regular rectangle, almost as wide as the cultural square, and connected to Homa Road at the back. The entire Yongcheng is also long, compressed into a valley by the Xianan River and the mountains on both sides. Behind the road, there is the mountain. Jason felt that if a high-rise building were erected here at Yongcheng Theater, it would look like a monument when viewed from across the river. Its location is also destined to become a coordinate of Yongcheng. Jason, Zhang Chen, and Tan Shuhen were sitting in the cafe of Huanglong Moon Bay Hotel, discussing the hotel plan. Tan Shuhen did not dare to stay in the hotel room. There were too many people looking for her. After a few words of greetings, Tan Shuhen knew that he was here to buy a house in splendid Imperial Mansion at a discount. There are fewer and fewer houses in Jingxiu Imperial Mansion. Such an expensive house can be sold so surprisingly well. After word of mouth spread, in a small place like Yongcheng, it immediately became a topic of conversation and a hot topic. Grapevine. At the same time, this also made Jingxiu Yufu quickly become a symbol of a person's identity. Whether or not there is a Jingxiu Yufu house divides Yongcheng people into two types of people, especially those who are more sensitive to identity. Bosses, they usually compete with each other. At this time, the house of Jingxiu Yufu has become a symbol. This also makes some people who are trying hard to become rich, grit their teeth and buy a house in splendid imperial palace even if their financial strength is still lacking. What else is more suitable for comparison than the house in splendid imperial mansion? They can't bear that others will live in the splendid palace in the future, but they will not. The house is no longer just a house issue, but also a face issue. After it became a matter of face, asking Tan Shuhen to buy a house at a discount became a matter of great face. As a result, more people came to Tan Shuhen, especially knowing that she was still in Yongcheng. Tan Shuhen felt happy in her heart. Fortunately, she added 1,000 per square meter and she gave them a 10% discount. The price was actually about the same as the original price, but it could be said to be a great favor to the people who came to see her. This faces hundreds of thousands. Jason told them that the location of the theater is most suitable to be turned into a city hotel, with a hotel on top and a comprehensive commercial complex on the podium below. Zhang Chen said yes, that's what I originally imagined. Do we need to consider office buildings? Jason asked. Zhang Chen said there was no need. There were only a few decent companies in this kind of place, and ordinary companies couldn't afford to rent such an office building. Jason nodded and said, I understand. Zhang Chen and Jason said, we must also consider that this is a small city after all. Within 10 years, its permanent population will not reach 100,000, so the scale of the shopping mall will also need to be reduced, and the city's consumption power will be reduced, there is simply no way it can afford even a comprehensive shopping mall like Hangcheng Yintai department store, let alone one the size of Hangcheng Center and Hangcheng Tower. Jason said, yes, Mr. Zhang, you are right. I also thought about this, including walking around the whole city. I found that what a small town of this size actually needs most is a city of a certain scale. Supermarkets, even if a supermarket is in a large or medium-sized city, its radiation range should only be this large, and there happens to be none here. Both Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan thought Jason's proposal was very good, and they also felt that Yongcheng really needed a supermarket of a certain scale. They first determined the height of the floors. There are 2 floors underground and 32 floors above ground. The first to 7th floors are the podium buildings. Among them, the first to 3rd floors are the planned large supermarkets and shopping malls. The 4th floor is the catering floor. Half of them are for dining. It will be in the form of a food court, and half of it will be a store-in-store. The 5th and 6th floors will be turned into a movie theater similar to the Qingchun Movie World in Hangzhou, and there will also be a small theater. This theater is where the Yongcheng Wu Opera Troupe performs itself. It can also be provided to various types of theater troupes from other places to come to Yongcheng for exchange performances. Zhang Chen and Jason said that this theater does not need many auditoriums, probably there are only 500 to 600 seats, which is too much, and most of them will be wasted. The venue design of a theater is different from that of a cinema. Its floor height, stage, lighting, sound facilities, and auditorium design are all different. There is no way to mix them with the cinema. Tan Shahan said with a smile, nowadays, there are no theater troupes that perform in the city. They all go to the countryside. The Red Star Theater in Hangzhou is supported by the Little Beiwayu Opera Troupe, and the performances are not enough. Zhang Chen said, when the theater troupe has money, it can subsidize and invite other theater troupes to exchange performances. Of course, the theater troupes invited must have a certain level. Have you ever thought about cultivating a group of theater talents, loyal audiences? Just relying on one Wu opera is definitely not enough. Even Wu opera itself must be innovated, new plays and modern plays must be arranged, so as to attract the audience. With such a theater, we can broaden our horizons and make this place a center for all kinds of dramas. Economic interests don't need to be considered. Jason is right, even in a place like Hong Kong, there are still small theaters like this, and there are still people who love drama. Even if there are only 10 viewers, we have to reserve a place like this for them, Zhang Chen said. Besides, do you and I need to make money from this? Or are we unable to support such a place? For feelings, right? And you say it so tragically, Tan Shahan said with a smile, if there were only 10 audiences below, I would cry while performing on stage. Jason smiled and said, this is good. If you, Mr. Tan, perform on stage again, you will definitely have box office appeal. She can receive 100 yuan for each person who comes to the show when she comes out, ensuring that the venue is full and there will be a sea of people outside, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Go. You just talked about me so badly that no one will see it until I post it upside down, right? Tan Shahan glared at Zhang Chen and cursed. Zhang Chen and Jason laughed. The podium building has a single floor of more than 9,000 square meters. The cinema and small theater combined cannot use the 5th and 6th floors. Zhang Chen and Jason said that the remaining venues are empty and they can consider leasing them to training institutions. Institutions such as English training, art training, and music training. Even though Yongcheng is a small place, the fees of these training institutions are not cheap. They are the same as those in Hangzhou. They need such a venue and can afford it, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahan looked at Zhang Chen and asked suspiciously, why do you know so much about this market? Of course, Zhang Chen said, Tan Shahan, haven't you ever thought about what you can do when you have nothing? I have thought about it. When I feel that I have nothing, I can open an art training class and teach people paint, that's it, and they can support their families. Jason laughed, and Tan Shahen rolled her eyes at him and said, I don't have to think about it. When I have nothing, I will go work for you. The 7th floor of the podium is an entertainment venue, and the 8th floor. Jason said, we put the hotel lobby on the 8th floor. Outside the lobby is the roof of the podium, which is thousands of square meters. This is the hotel's garden. You can place a swimming pool, gym, coffee shop, and tea bar here, and the space here is ample enough. Moreover, I have calculated that if it is on the 8th floor, there will be no obstruction in front of the garden. Not only can you have an unobstructed view of the square below, but you can also directly see the Xianan River on the other side of the square, Jason said. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen both thought Jason's idea was a good one. The entire building above the 8th floor is a hotel, Jason told them, and both of them nodded. The three of them finalized the rough plan. Jason went back to his room. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen continued to sit here. Tan Shahen looked at Zhang Chen and laughed. Zhang Chen, what do you think this is? Originally, I just wanted you to help me stand up and sell houses because you are a good salesperson. How did it become that we will build a hotel here again and participate in the restructuring of some theater troupe? Zhang Chen laughed and said that things are unpredictable. Do you still remember? At first, I just wanted to go to Sanya to spend the new year, but ended up buying a hotel. Later, I wanted to go to Sanya to spend the new year, and finally got Sanya World Tropical Botanical Gardens. Who would have thought of this? That's right, when I went to Hiken that time, I just wanted to ask Mr. Han a few questions, Tan Shahen said. Unexpectedly, he became my consultant, and there was a Hainan branch, and there were so many land. The most important thing is that you make a lot of money, Zhang Chen said, and both of them laughed. Zhang Chen said, Tan Shahen, have you ever thought about it? The saddest thing is Lao Gui and Su Jianmei. When they came back from Sanya, they didn't even have a theater troupe anymore. It's like the astronauts on the former Soviet space station. At that time, they were still national heroes of the Soviet Union. When they returned to Earth, they found that their country was gone and the Soviet Union became Russia. Tan Shahen was overjoyed. She said, okay, I admit it. I admit that even now, I don't know what I will do next in my life. Just as he was talking, Tan Shahen's cell phone rang, and Zhang Chen laughed. He said, you didn't know who was going to call you now. Tan Shahen looked at her phone and said, I know, it's Lao Tai. The old guy who came here when Xiao Wu got married. Was he from the police station? Tan Shahen nodded and picked up the phone. Tan Shahen nodded her head and said to the other end of the phone, that's right, I'm not in the room. I'm talking about things in the coffee shop. Where are you? Okay, no, you don't have to come up, I'll come down. After hanging up the phone, Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen said, I'll go down for a while. He's waiting for me in the lobby. He's been to my room but didn't find me. Oh, Tan Shahen, are you so good now? Zhang Chen shouted. Of course. Tan Shahen stood up and said, I can't let people feel that someone is gone. This is more uncomfortable than stabbing someone with a knife. Zhang Chen nodded. Thank you for the reward of the third one from the top, Dal Tin Soldier, and 2 fishes, one above and one below, at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you to Xiaoshen Nian Fang 48, Xiasi, Mao, Qing the administrator on the 3rd floor of the library, Shi Yitan, Hu, and book friends 201912170332388847, 201712210210210210399930, 201811071825337888 for their monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1605. In the afternoon of that day, Zhang Chen, Tan Shehen, and Jason left Yongcheng, while Xiao Wu stayed there and continued to go through relevant procedures. When they arrived in Hangzhou, Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen didn't even return to the company. They sent Jason to the airport first. Jason had to take the evening flight back to Hainan. After the construction of the Hainan International Tourism Island began, Jason and his colleagues reopened their Hainan branch. Tan Shehen and his team's projects in Hainan were still designed by Jason and Jacques. Jason told Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen that he would hurry up on the design when he returned to Hainan, and he would come back to Hangzhou as soon as the design draft of the hotel was ready. After seeing off Jason, the two of them were on their way back to downtown Hangzhou. Tan Shehen asked Zhang Chen, "Should you send someone to take care of it here in Yongcheng, or should I? Pai Shi, I can just continue to take care of it." After the restructuring, didn't there be more than a dozen people in the theater? The theater will be demolished next, and they have nothing to do. They can just go home and rest, Zhang Chen said. "I'm worried that Lao Gui is not capable enough," Tan Shehen said. "You underestimate Lao Gui too much. It's great that Lao Gui can still maintain that shabby theater troupe. From now on, hotels and shopping malls will be rented to others. Lao Gui is just a landlord. What's the problem? Even if you don't rent it out to others and run it yourself, you'll have to hire professional people. We'll talk about this later. We don't have any suitable people ready-made here." Zhang Chen said. Tan Shehen nodded. "I think the biggest problem in the troupe now is the lack of talent. The student class has just been established and there is no hope for it. Lao Gui and Su Jianmei are old after all. Even the foundation of Bai Sahen's wrinkles can't cover it." You, Zhang Chen, are you saying I'm old?" Tan Shehen cursed. Zhang Chen laughed and said, "Do you still think you are Bai Sahen? I'm talking about Su Jianmei. Aren't you talking about her in the same way as you are talking about me?" "Jianmei is still a few months younger than me," Tan Shehen said. "Okay, let's not argue. You are not old, you are still pretty, okay. Tan Shehen, let's just talk about it. Then tell me, the youngest person in the troupe who can go on stage now is Su Jianmei. Do you feel that you are too old? I just don't feel it now. What about 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Where will Bai Sahen be in 3 to 5 years?" Tan Shehen sighed, "How could I not know about this, and you need to tell me about it. So I think that this time when Lao Gui and the others come back, they don't have to worry about anything else. The key is to recruit people. If they can't recruit people, they will find ways to recruit them. Go to Zhejiang and Wu, and go to other groups to recruit. Now Jinhua and Kuzhu are there many folk theater troupes? Go and see if there are any good talents. If there are any good ones, recruit them. After recruiting all the people, the next step is to arrange new plays. We can't let the troupe remain the same after its restructuring. If that's the case, Tan Shehen, where will you and I put our faces?" Zhang Chen said, and Tan Shehen nodded. She said, "Okay, I will do as you say. Recruiting people is indeed a top priority. Without new people and new plays, this troupe will not look like a troupe. The most important thing is that the theater troupe used to be a nuisance, and everyone turned a blind eye to it. Now, people are counting on the troupe to produce results to prove the success of the transformation and to give themselves political achievements. The old way will not work anymore," Zhang Chen said. "I'll call Lao Gui later. If that doesn't work, ask them to come back early." Tan Shehen said yes. "I have another idea," Zhang Chen said after driving for a while. "What do you think?" Tan Shehen asked. Originally, this time, the dilapidated building and rehearsal hall on Jiaohang were to be renovated. My idea was to leave it alone and let Lao Gui and the others stick to the original old building. After the theater is completed, move the entire theater troupe here. Isn't there still room here? I said it can be rented out, and a practice room will be built on the 5th or 6th floor. In this way, rehearsals, performances, and offices can be accommodated, including student classes. They can all be put together. What about Gaohong? Tan Shahen asked. If they are all demolished and used as a dormitory area, I calculate that there will be no problem in building 5 dormitories. With 5 dormitories, everyone's housing problems will be solved, and it will be easier to recruit new people. I'm afraid this won't work, right? Tan Shahen said. According to regulations, all land must go through the Land Collection and Storage Center. It's none of their business. We are building dormitories for units, not commercial housing. Once the houses are built, they are not sold to them, but provided for everyone to live in. What does it have to do with the collection and storage center? At most, urban construction here will be a bit troublesome. Always there is a way to go. Aren't you a professional? Zhang Chen said. Don't tell me, you don't even have this energy. Okay, I'll take care of it when the time comes, Tan Shahen said. Don't wait until then. Tell Ding Begu your idea now. Just take advantage of the restructuring. Everything can be done on the sidelines. For them, it's a dream. It saves a lot of renovation costs. Just tell them, the cost of building the dormitory will be raised by our new company ourselves, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen said, okay, I'll talk to Ding Begu. By the way, Zhang Chen, if you have any other ideas, can you tell them all at once, instead of being like this? Tan Shahen said. Zhang Chen laughed. No more for now, didn't I just think of it? I'll talk about it later if I think of it later. Tan Shahen snorted, you are really good at thinking. I might as well let you be the leader. You're not afraid of overusing your talents and underutilizing them, Zhang Chen said casually. Tan Shahen turned to stare at Zhang Chen, looked at it for a while and started laughing. Why are you laughing? Zhang Chen asked curiously. Really, you are really overqualified to be the leader of the group, Tan Shahen said with a smile. I forgot that you can be a show on the stage alone, and your income is higher than their entire group. Zhang Chen also laughed when he heard this, and said proudly, you know now, right? I know, next time we can act together. You will speak on stage in the first half, and they will perform on stage in the second half, Tan Shahen said. Get lost, Zhang Chen cursed, with me, they don't need them anymore. I know, so I asked you to lead them. Wherever you give a speech, you will sow the fire of Wu Opera, Tan Shahen said and laughed. This is great, a single spark can start a prairie fire, and the fire of Wu Opera can quickly start a prairie fire to the north and south of the country. Boring, Zhang Chen scolded. No, 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 Tan Shahen shouted, let me think about this prairie fire scene for a while longer. Zhang Chen ignored her and drove the car. The car turned into Kiyoshi Academy and stopped. Zhang Chen remembered and asked Tan Shahen. By the way, I will have dinner with Xiao Jin tonight, will you join in? Xiao Jin? Where is Xiao Jin? In my company, he has been working for several days, but I didn't see him. I came back today and wanted to meet him, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen was surprised. Xiao Jin is in your company? When did he come? What can he do? I asked him to be Xiaoli's assistant first, Zhang Chen said. Zhang Chen then told Tan Shahen about Xiao Jin. Tan Shahen said, I'm going to come, and you call Xiao Li too. Lao Yang is right, Xiao Jin is no better than Xiao Wu, he is indeed a good person in what he says and does. But for the brain, I have to set rules for him in front of Xiaoli at night. Zhang Chen agreed. That night at Tuxianjiayuan, at 6:30, you can go there by yourself and I will call Xiaoli over. Tan Shahen said hello, opened the car door and got out. At 6:30 in the evening, Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen went to the private room of Tuxianjiayuan Hotel first. They waited for 10 minutes. Xiaoli and Xiaojin also arrived. As soon as Xiaojin walked in, he grinned when he saw them. Tan Shehen scolded, "Smile, call someone first." Xiao Jing quickly called out, "Brother Zhang Chen, sister Shehen." The two of them also sat down, and Zhang Chen asked Xiao Li, "How has this guy performed these 2 days?" Xiao Li said, "It's quite diligent to be diligent, but it's just careless and unhelpful." Xiao Jin argued, "What's wrong with me?" Xiao Li turned her head and looked at him, and said, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You are not careless, you have multiple hands and feet, and you have ADHD. Xiao Li turned to Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen and said, "This guy wanders around the workshop when he has nothing to do. He tries to move whatever he sees, and he moves randomly, like a blacksmith with rough hands and feet. If he tries to touch the keyhole machine, the keyhole machine will break. If he moved the buttoning machine, the buttoning machine would break." The mechanic almost cried when he saw him. What's even more outrageous is that when he sees someone who is not in the parking space, he sits down in someone else's parking space and stamps on them, breaking their needles, breaking their threads, and ruining even good clothing materials. Not only did the work in front of me go to waste, but when I went to get the film patched, I was scolded by the supervisor. When I saw him, everyone was frightened. Xiao Li said and turned to ask Xiaojin, "Am I right? Have I spread any rumors about you?" Xiaojin chuckled and said, "No one is a genius, and who doesn't learn slowly? Do you want you to learn? I arranged for you to learn parking spaces or to learn keyhole fastening." "Why are you doing it?" Xiao Li scolded. "He is like a plague god in the workshop now. He himself is still very angry." Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen couldn't help laughing when they heard Xiao Li's scolding. Tan Shehen asked Xiao Li, "What's wrong with him? Now it's someone else's parking space. If you stand up and do a little ironing for a while and leave your machine, as long as you see someone coming, everyone in the workshop will yell to remind that person that he is coming. The person will turn around and look at it. As soon as I threw the iron away, I ran back to the parking space, just in case he would sit down." As Xiao Li said, both Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen remembered the scene of people shouting in that workshop, and they both laughed. Zhang Chen said, "Xiao Li, if he tries too hard and damages the machine, you will deduct his salary." Xiao Li said, "Yes, but I have already thought of a way to deal with him." "What can we do?" Tan Shehen asked. Xiao Li said, "I see that he is fine now, so I will ask him to help with the buckles in the office. After he has finished 100, he will be allowed to go out for 15 minutes. If he does not do well, no problem, the break will be cancelled, and he will be given to me rework. He is now doing a good job of dunking. I've thought about it a long time ago. If I can't teach him well and can't change his problem of having too many hands and too many feet, I'm going to let him embroider. Anyway, Brother Xiao Wu told me that if he doesn't obey, I'll beat him. If he dares to fight back, I will tell Brother Xiao Wu." Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen laughed, and Xiao Jin's face turned red at Xiao Li's comment. Tan Shehen was right. "Xiao Li, if he disobeys in the future, you can call me. I will come over and teach him a lesson in front of everyone in the workshop to see how thick-skinned he is and whether he will be ashamed." Xiao Li said yes. "Thank you Lu, Bald Brother 999, and Book Friends 20190909075929245 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1606. Feng Logui and teacher Wu had long heard about the restructuring of the theater troupe. Before they came to Sanya, the Municipal Culture, Radio, Tourism, and Sports Bureau organized a meeting for them. Ding Begu assured them at the meeting that the career establishment of the employees will not change. It is the old man's old method. Until they retire, the newly recruited people will no longer have a career establishment. Knowing this, everyone felt relieved. Dingbago's wife was still in the troupe, and everyone believed that he would not be tricking them. As for the new recruits, only a devil would care about it. The troupe has not had new recruits for more than 10 years. The current student class was only re-established with the support of Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen, and the students in the student class are not only the current, that is, in the past, when Tan Shahen, Su Jianmei and Feng Logui were still students, there was no establishment. Only after students in the student class start to appear on stage will they report to the Provincial Department of Culture every year based on their importance in the group. The Department of Culture will give them 1 or 2 places every year. Only then will these important students become students one by one. Career editors, as for those who have never become the backbone of a theater troupe, they have never had this opportunity. Some of them worked in the theater troupe until they retired, and they did not wait to become a career editor. This situation is very similar to that of so many private teachers who are waiting for the opportunity to transfer to public schools every year. There are also some people who changed careers midway and went to do other things instead of being actors, such as Xiang Xiang's husband and others. Over the years, the troupe has gone through many twists and turns. Everyone has long been indifferent to the various decisions and so-called reform measures made by the above, and their ears have become calloused. Anyway, no matter how bad it is, it can't be worse than it is now. If it is worse than it is now, it's even worse. Those people in the Cultural Affairs Bureau and the city will not have a good life. The scene where the U Opera troupe was disbanded will definitely happen again. Su Jianmei is still in the troupe. If they are having a hard time, Dingbago will not have a good life at home. Therefore, for these people in the theater troupe, they all have an attitude that it is none of their business whether to reform or not. You can go ahead and live our lives, until Su Jianmei told them with excitement on her face that it was settled. It's decided, Zhang Chen and Zhen Zhen are coming back. What do you mean, Su Jianmei? Xiang Xiang asked. The theater troupe's restructuring plan has been finalized. Zhang Chen and Zhen Zhen will come back to be the bosses. Do you understand? Su Jianmei said. Everyone then exploded and understood that it was Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen who were coming back, which was great. Is it true, Su Jianmei? Someone asked. Of course, the agreement has been signed to establish a Yongchengwu Opera Troupe Performance Co., Limited. Zhang Chen and Zhen Zhen are the major shareholders with 60% of the shares. It turns out that all the people from the Wu Opera Troupe go here. Company. Everyone believed Su Jianmei when they saw that she had such a good nose and eyes, and her husband was Dingbago. Then Feng Logui received a call from Zhang Chen. On the phone, Zhang Chen told Feng Logui one by one. Zhang Chen said that the restructuring is to transform the Wu Opera Troupe and the theater together. At the theater, we are going to build a 32-story building with a 4-star hotel, a shopping mall, a large supermarket, a movie theater, and a small theater and rehearsal hall. From now on, our troupe will have its own theater in Yongcheng. Not only will we not have to ask for help for our own performances, but we can also receive performances from brother groups. When Feng Logui answered the phone, other people gathered around him. Feng Logui pressed the speaker phone, and everyone became excited after hearing what Zhang Chen said. Zhang Chen and Feng Logui said, after the building is built, the theater troupe will move into the building. After the theater troupe moves out, we will use the original Jiaohang area to build dormitories. Once completed, they will be distributed to everyone. Zhang Chen, do we have a share? Xiang Xiang was listening on the side and couldn't help it anymore and shouted. Of course, Zhang Chen said, everyone who has a family, regardless of whether they have 2 jobs or not, can be assigned a room. If there is no family, then 2 or 3 people can share a room, and each person has a room. Of course, the students in the student class, young students, still live in dormitories, and we are planning to use one of them as a dormitory. The people on the side cheered "Oh," and everyone couldn't believe it. If you stay in this shabby theater troupe, there will be a day when you can be assigned a house to live in. Finally, there is no need for a big summer, and the man is shirtless. A woman wearing an undershirt was sweating while cooking in the corridor. The sweat dripped into the pot and could be used as salt. And you will have your own independent bathroom with 24-hour hot water, so you can take a shower whenever you want. Even in the dead of winter, if I had to defecate in the middle of the night, I would have to wrap myself in a cotton coat, come downstairs, and run to the public restroom next to the cafeteria to relieve myself. My buttocks would be frozen to the bone before I could finish defecating. The most embarrassing thing was that I hurriedly ran downstairs, got into the toilet, squatted down, and halfway through, I realized that I had forgotten to bring toilet paper, and was wandering around with a flashlight in my hand. Others left half of the toilet paper on the toilet floor. There are no newspapers or cigarette shells, which means that the sky is not responding and the earth is not working. These days are finally over. Everyone thinks that every family has a suite. Adults, children, and the elderly each have their own room. They can take care of their physiological needs at night and no longer have to act lightly like a thief. What kind of magical life is that? Is it possible? Happiness came so suddenly, and everyone still didn't believe it, but it was Zhang Chen who spoke on the other end of the phone. When did Zhang Chen's words not mean what he said? Now with the strength of Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen, they have the ability to do it, and they will not give them a thumbs up. Everyone couldn't help but become happy. Zhang Chen then told Feng Logui that the top priority now is to recruit and poach people. After recruiting all the people, we still need to find a way to arrange new plays. This troupe has not put on new plays for many years. Feng Logui said yes, Zhang Chen, as long as the treatment conditions are in place, I will help you recruit Zhou Yuegui and Lu Shahen. The two people Feng Logui mentioned are both famous Wu opera masters. Zhou Yuegui worked very hard on the use of accents, often using colorful decorative tones, and sang freely and freely. He can be called the best female Wu opera singer. His representative works include The Third Sister Descends to the World, Di Qing's Hair Matching and so on. Lu Shahen, who is in Xingyi, breaks away from the singing custom of combining real and false voices, and instead sings with her own voice. She hums softly and melodiously, and her sincerity is even more touching. She is known as Wu Yan Hua Dan. Her representative works include Sunyang Godson, Song Jiang Ci11 and so on. But of the two of them, one is 76 years old and the other is 84 years old. Zhang Chen scolded, "Why do I want you to poach them? Do you lack maternal love and want to find a godmother? I want you to poach young people." Everyone around Feng Logui laughed. Su Jianmei said, "Logui, we don't want Lu Shahen. If you have the guts, dig Tan Shahen." Everyone laughed, and teacher Su said, "Jianmei, if Tan Shahen comes back, you will be deflated again." Su Jianmei flattened her mouth, stared and said, "Forget it." Everyone laughed again. Teacher Wu said, "Zhen Zhen has come back regardless of whether she dug or not. Haven't you heard that she is the boss now? Zhang Chen is right, what we need now are young people." That's right, if Su Jianmei can't control her mouth anymore and has diarrhea after eating, she won't even be the white lady in Stealing Immortal Grass. Someone shouted, and everyone laughed again. Su Jianmei turned towards the person who was speaking, and shouted, "Let me tear your mouth apart." The other side of the phone was laughing and joking, and Zhang Chen on the other side of the phone was also infected. He also laughed. He told Feng Logui that there are a lot of things going on here, Lao Gui, or you can come back early. Feng Logui said, "Okay, I understand, Zhang Chen." After hanging up the phone, Feng Logui and teacher Wu said, "Zhang Chen asked us to go back early, or should we go back in the next 2 or 3 days?" Teacher Wu shook his head and said, "No, don't we have a performance contract? The contract has not ended, how can we break the contract and go back early?" Teacher Wu, are you confused? This hotel belongs to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen asked us to go back. What else is there to violate the contract? Xiang shouted, and everyone laughed. Teacher Wu said, this hotel belongs to Zhang Chen, and we can't dismantle him. Think about it, if we leave suddenly, what will happen to the food here? In an emergency, let Xiao Cao and the others go to find the troop Li Ding, which group has a good itinerary and can get all the equipment and personnel to Sanya in less than 10 days and a half at the earliest. Upon hearing this, everyone felt that what Teacher Wu said made sense. Teacher Wu continued, but what Zhang Chen said is indeed important. The troop is now restructured. Those who are still in the troop and the newly recruited students will inevitably be panicked. There is also what Zhang Chen said about recruiting new people. And poaching people are top priorities. In this way, either you go back first, while we stay and continue to perform, and finish the contract. Lo Gui is gone, what will happen to Su Xian, Su Jianmi? I asked. If it doesn't work, then I'll give it a try. What, Jianmi? Do you think I can't take it? Teacher Wu asked. Su Jianmi quickly said, of course you can, Teacher Wu, I just think that would be too hard. No matter how hard you work, it will only take a month or two. Lo Gui, it's settled. You will go back tomorrow, Teacher Wu said. Feng Lo Gui said yes. He said that I have arranged things there, and if there is time in the meantime, I will come back. Teacher Wu nodded. Lao Gui, it's best if you find new people and bring them to Sanya, Xiang shouted. Okay. If our troop has such conditions in the future, no troop in the province can match them. There will definitely be no problem. Feng Lo Gui said that everyone felt happy when they thought about it, and felt that Lo Gui was right. Teacher Wu remembered it, and he said to Feng Lo Gui, when you arrive in Hangzhou, go to the provincial art school. If there are good students, even if they study other types of opera, as long as their conditions are good, it doesn't matter, just recruit them and they'll learn quickly. If there are good luthiers, I'll hire one or two, dear. Teacher Su explained to Feng Lo Gui, and Feng Lo Gui agreed one by one. Thank you to Piao Lingyi Mayfly, Lao Chen Tang, Dai De Shen Song, and Wawa Tin Soldier for the reward of 2 fishes, 1 up and 1 down, at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Piao Lingyi, Lao Chen Tang, Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Hu, Huandian Electrical and Mechanical, Zipanjiang 1, Fang L, Hurricane 0669, really annoying, 8 Liang, knowing one's own nature, dedicated to Cao Xiaoman, my heart is falling for you, book friend 201906061314333385 monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1607. Xiao Wu went to Xiaoshan Airport to pick up Feng Lo Gui, and many people had dinner together at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel on Yan'an Road in the evening. Xiao Wu, Xiao Jin, Zhang Chen, Tan Shuhen, and Lao Yang, all from the Lao Wu troop, all arrived. Wen Wen also happened to arrive in Hangzhou today. She came to confirm the contract for one person's oil painting history with Zhang Chen. In 2 days, Lu Qing and the others will arrive in Shanghai, and Zhang Chen will also go there. They have already decided next. The first episode of a person's history of oil painting starts from the Tishanwan Oil Painting Gallery. Zhang Chen believes that this is the real cradle of Chinese oil painting. In the second episode, we use the technique of narration to talk about Matteo Ricci and Castiglione. Zhang Chen defines that stage as the Enlightenment stage of Chinese oil painting, which is the first time that Chinese people know what oil painting is. Wen Wen and Zhang Chen finalized the contract and went to have dinner with them. Lao Yang came in from outside the box door. As soon as he saw Xiaojin, he slapped his thigh and cursed, "I took all precautions, but I didn't expect you to sneak into Hangzhou." Xiaojin chuckled and said, "Brother Zhang Chen asked me to come, and I was already working at Brother Zhang Chen's place." "Xiaojin, when you do things in the future, you can't be too smart." Lao Yang sat down between Feng Logui and Zhang Chen and said to Xiaojin. "What do you mean, Lao Yang?" Xiaojin was unconvinced and cursed, "No matter how stupid I am, I will not leave a group of people there and run away by myself." Old Yang's face turned red instantly, and Xiaojin continued to curse, "If it weren't for Brother Zhang Chen, so many of us would have starved to death in Pingyang." Wen Wen became curious and asked, "Who ran away and who will starve to death again?" Zhang Chen and Lao Gui could only laugh. No one answered her question. Lao Yang regained his composure, and said, "They say you don't expose the weak but the weak. Xiaojin, if you say this now, aren't you just talking beyond your brains?" Xiaojin scolded back, "It's my shortcoming that I don't have a brain. How the hell can you, Lao Yang, expose my shortcoming?" Several other people's stomachs almost hurt from laughing, but Wen Wen was the only one sitting there, looking at them stupidly, not knowing what they were talking about. When the food was served, Zhang Chen raised his glass and said, "Come on, let's have a drink first." Only then did Lao Yang and Xiaojin stop bickering and toast together. Then, talking about the restructuring of the troop, Lao Yang patted Feng Logui on the shoulder and shouted, "Lao Gui, I really envy you. Why haven't I encountered such a good life?" "Aren't you okay?" Xiaojin scolded, "Brother Zhang Chen and Sister Shahen are now Uncle Gui's boss. At that time, you were still their leader, and you were still in charge of them." Lao Yang was not interested in continuing to quarrel with Xiaojin. He said, "Fine, I still have the power, is that enough? What kind of group leader? I was the only one who knew how many people were being criticized at that time." Lao Yang said, "There are dozens of people below who want to eat and perform. When they take them out, my humming pockets are full. It's because I have no money, and I have to beg my grandpa and sue my grandma for alms. I'm just like a humming dog. When you return to Yongcheng, you can rest in peace, can I? You can scold me if I can't get my salary. I'll go to the Cultural Affairs Bureau and they scold me too, saying that I don't understand the general situation and can't help the organization." To share the worries, Logui could simply leave PepsiCo alone and let the troop take care of it. At that time, it was impossible for me to ignore it. The Provincial Department of Culture also has an assessment of the number of performances every year. If you can't complete it, you won't even get a penny of subsidy. They won't even give you an indicator for becoming a full-time employee. You're a minor in the humming career establishment. I'm not coveting it like this. You asked for it with shame, do you think it will fall from the sky? Can I also let the troop roam free? In other words, Ding Begu, that old dog, became the leader of the troop and couldn't control it, so the troop was completely disbanded. At that time, I only had a simple meal every day, but I wanted to let you have something to eat and let go of the troop. I don't dare to live for a day. I'm so damn exhausted. Is there anyone who says I'm good? I couldn't hold on anymore. This old face was all sold out and it didn't work anymore." As Lao Yang spoke, his eyes turned red. Zhang Chen patted him on the shoulder and said, "Lao Yang, I know it was really not easy for you at that time. We really didn't understand your difficulties at the time. It was only later that I started to take care of others that I could understand the difficulties and know how difficult it is to be the leader." Xiaojin cupped his hands towards Lao Yang and said, "Okay, Lao Yang, thank you." When Zhang Chen was talking, Tan Shahen and Feng Logui kept nodding, and Wen Wen nodded too. Xiao saw it and asked Wen Wen with a smile, "What are you nodding to?" "I am also in charge, and I also know that it is not easy to be in charge," Wen Wen shouted. "Zhang Chen, thank you." Feng Logui said to Zhang Chen that he was embarrassed to look at Tan Shahen, but he was talking about you. Feng Logui continued. We are in Sanya. We heard that you were taking over the troop. Everyone was very happy. Really, knowing this, the troop has hope. Feng Logui then said to Lao Yang, what Zhang Chen said is right, and what you said is also right. The troop is indeed too difficult, but fortunately, these hard days are finally over. From now on, I hope you, Lao Yang, can still help the group more. Lao Yang waved his hand and said, of course, you can tell me that if you stay with the troop for one day, your heart will remain with the troop for the rest of your life. Seeing the troop half dead makes me feel uncomfortable. Lao Yang picked up the cup in front of him and drank it all in one gulp. He said, don't you want to recruit people? I still have some old connections. I know there are several troops and several good actors. Those troops are half dead like us. I will write you a few letters when I go back. You can take them with me. Go find them, ask them to show their respect, and release these people to you, which will also give them a way to survive. Feng Logui quickly said, thank you, Lao Yang. Wen Wen and Feng Logui said, Uncle Lao Gui, aren't you going to the provincial art school? When will you go tomorrow? I will accompany you. I graduated from the provincial art school and I am familiar with it. Zhang Chen scolded, you are the only one who was expelled from the art school. Zhang Chen almost said the word fired, but when he said it, he knew it was not good, so he quickly changed his words and said, you have been away for such a long time, does it still matter? Wen Wen said carelessly, of course, Qian and I were expelled from the provincial art school, but the two of us were influential figures in the school at that time and were very famous. My class teacher is now from the provincial art school. Vice principal, we are still in contact, old uncle, there will definitely be no problem if you come with me. Feng Logui quickly said yes. Hey, why do you call him Uncle Gui? Xiao Jin asked Wen Wen. Wen Wen said in surprise, didn't you call first? I followed you. Is that wrong? Aren't you older than me? Everyone laughed. Lao Yang raised his cup and said to Feng Logui. Now that we have recruited all the people, I will find you a good script, introduce a good director, and arrange a new play. For the troupe, this new play is like an army fighting a war. When there is a battle, the team can, if we are of one mind and do not fight for years, everyone will be tired. As Lao Yang said, Zhang Chen, Tan Shahen, and Feng Logui kept nodding. Of course, they all knew the importance of arranging new plays for a theater troupe. It can be said that, like aphrodisiacs, there are new plays every year. In the theater troupe where the drama is being rehearsed, everyone in the troupe will be humming the lyrics while walking on the street. Otherwise, they are full of clichés and would not even bother to hum. Lao Yang and Tan Shahen said, I'm ashamed. In the past few years in the troupe, I haven't rehearsed a new play. Zhen, I know you are not convinced. Every year you look forward to rehearsing a new play and participating in the Ministry of Culture. If you can attend the performance, your performance will not be worse than that of Xiao Beihua, and you can also win the Plum Blossom Award. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability. A new play costs at least 100,000 yuan. I really didn't have the ability to get this 100,000 yuan at the time. Tan Shahen raised her cup and said, come on, Lao Yang, don't talk about this, let's have a drink. Lao Yang said yes, raised his glass and clinked it with Tan Shahen, and the two drank a drink. By the way, Uncle Lao Gui, let me be your agent. Wen Wen said, when your new play is arranged, I will help you contact the performance, and strive to let you not only perform in Beijing, but also find a way act abroad. This is good, Lao Gui. It's right to let Wen Wen be your agent. Tan Shahen said, she is Nan Nan's agent and Zhang Chen's agent. She is very capable. When Tan Shahen was talking, Zhang Chen nodded beside her. Fenlogui said with a smile, "You two bosses have agreed, what else will I have to say?" "Then let's make an agreement," Uncle Gui Wenwen said. "I know the troupe doesn't have much money. Don't worry, I will be your agent for free. You only need to reimburse me for the transportation and accommodation expenses." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "She will try her best to get you half-price room rate." Wenwen said, "Yes, I will definitely save money if possible." When Zhang Chen said this, Tan Shuhen glanced at him. Zhang Chen immediately realized that he had made a mistake. "You have never stayed in a hotel with others, how come you even know about the half-price room rate?" Zhang Chen hurriedly told Wenwen, "You don't need to save, just spend what you need. As long as you do things well, you will still charge the fees that should be charged." Tan Shuhen said, "That's right, Wenwen, just go ahead and do it." Wenwen laughed, "Haha, listening to you two talking, I suddenly feel that I am rich." Everyone had a great time eating this meal. They were all old acquaintances from the theater troupe, including Wenwen, who was originally studying opera at the provincial art school. They all had a common language. Everyone was eating and drinking, and Wenwen couldn't bear it. As soon as he stopped, he stood up and sang a piece of Shaoxing opera. After singing, I went to pick up Fenlogui. Fenlogui got up and sang a piece of Wu opera. After Fenlogui finished singing, Tan Shuhen's drama addiction was aroused. She had indeed not sung for a long time. Wenwen knew that she sang very well. When they first met, the two of them had a drama. Wenwen insisted that Tan Shuhen sing, so Tan Shuhen stood up and sang an excerpt from 3 Invitations to Fan Liwa. Everyone else clapped when they heard this, but Fenlogui looked a little sad. He was remembering the scene when Tan Shuhen played Fan Liwa and he played Shueding Shan. The two performed on the same stage. The past is like a cloud, but it still lingers. They didn't finish eating until more than 10 o'clock. Today, Fenlogui also drank a lot of wine as an exception, and he was a little staggered when he finished. Fenlogui lives in the International Building not far next door. Wenwen has not been to Hangzhou for a long time and will only stay for 1 day this time. She will return to Beijing tomorrow evening. It would be troublesome to organize the room upstairs in the dynamic zone. Zhang Chen asked her to live there too. International Building. Zhang Chen happened to pass by the International Building when he returned home, so he asked them to get into his car. When they arrived at the International Building, Zhang Chen accompanied them upstairs. Wenwen went back to her room. Zhang Chen sent Fenlogui into the room. Fenlogui sat on the bed and said a few words to Zhang Chen. Suddenly, his body swayed. "I poured it down, it was too much alcohol." Zhang Chen laid his body on the bed, covered him with a quilt, poured a glass of water and put it on the bedside table to see if nothing happened to Lao Gui. He should just have a good sleep. Zhang Chen opened the door and walked out towards the elevator. A door on the side suddenly opened, which startled Zhang Chen. Before he understood what was going on, Wenwen had already pulled him in. "Thank you Yunlong Frajiao, Wu Zhang, Shi Yitan, Lang 68, and Toad who dreams of flying for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1608. The next morning, Wenwen accompanied Fenlogui to the provincial art school and finalized 3 classmates, 1 boy and 2 girls, who are all studying opera. They will graduate next year, but after the spring festival, they can go to work at the Yongcheng Wu Opera Troupe. First in the form of internship. At this time, it is also the time when the troupe begins the task of sending plays to the countryside of the literary and artistic team that must be completed every year. They will be divided into several small performance teams and go to the villages below Yongcheng to perform condolence performances. Another important task is to start preparing for the performances of the Xiananjiang Summer Art Festival. The highlight of this performance is the stars invited from other places. The performances of their troops and the art troops organized by the cultural center are more like making up the numbers, and stalling for time has become increasingly unnecessary. Even the old leaders who would come to participate in the art festival in the past few years are too lazy to attend now. The leaders in Yongcheng City have also lost much interest. This art festival has been getting worse year by year, and it can be held at any time. There is a possibility of suspension. Whether it is sending opera to the countryside or Xiananjiang Summer Art Festival, there are no strict requirements for the program. The troupe can arrange it themselves. Feng Logui feels that this time is just right to let them learn Wu opera. At the same time, you can also go on stage as a Wu opera actor and put on a show. That afternoon, Feng Logui did not return to Yongcheng. Instead, he took the letter he wrote from Laoyang and went to Jinhua and Kuzhu. Zhang Chen finished lunch with Feng Logui and Wen Wen at noon. He sent Feng Logui to the South Bus Station, and then he went to the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. Wen Wen's flight was in the evening and it was still early. She was going to Gentian Power Plant with Zhang Chen. Wen Wen and Zhang Chen said that when I am not around, you are free to pick up girls and fall in love. When I am around, no matter what now, I want to be your follower. Zhang Chen asked Wen Wen to change her flight and go to Shanghai with him tomorrow. She met Lu Qing and the others and returned to Beijing from Shanghai. Wen Wen said no, I will go to Taili tomorrow morning to sign the contract, and I will meet with the director in the afternoon. This director has taken a fancy to Nan Nan. This time, Nan Nan may have a chance to play the female lead. Is it true? This is still happening, Zhang Chen asked. Then why didn't I hear what you and Tan Shahan said yesterday? It's not confirmed yet. What to say now? I don't want Sister Shahan to think I'm bragging, Wen Wen said. Zhang Chen was right to think about it. The two of them arrived at the Gentian power plant. Zhao Xian and the others were very busy next. January 8 was the opening day of the Hangzhou Women's Wear Exhibition Hall. Lu Changcheng and Li Yong, the two predecessors of Hangzhou City, the mayor, has to come to cut the ribbon. Zhang Chen asked Zhao Xian to take this opportunity to readjust the original Hangzhou Industrial Museum of Gentian Power Plant and add a video room, which plays a documentary about the industrial development of Hangzhou all year round. Zhang Chen also added a unit in the museum to introduce the history of Meisi River, especially the real-life record of the recent renovation of Gentian River. Zhang Chen felt that such vigorous events where the government and the people work together will become more and more common in the future. The less, the more precious it is. After the Hangpai Women's Wear Exhibition Hall is opened, the Gentian Power Plant will become a cluster of exhibition halls. There will definitely be many more people visiting every day than before. Zhang Chen also planned to open the clothing factory next to the Hangpai Women's Wear Exhibition Hall, but it would only be used as part of the exhibition hall to demonstrate the entire process of clothing production. Zhang Chen asked Xiaoli to select more than 30 workers. Come over. The next highlight of the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery is the Andy Warhol Works exhibition, which will be held from February 1 to February 25, 2011. This year's Spring Festival falls on February 3, and this exhibition spans the entire Spring Festival holiday, which makes Zhao Xian's personnel arrangements difficult. Zhang Chen transferred 2 document clerks from Su Qiaxin and the others. Now he is following Zhao Xian to learn some basic art knowledge so that he can serve as a translator. He is also preparing to transfer several security guards from the dynamic zone in Hagen to strengthen security during the exhibition. Xiao Wu volunteered and told Zhang Chen that he and Xiao Jing could work overtime to enhance the security work of the oil painting studio. I would work the day shift and Xiao Jin would work the night shift. If there were really bad guys coming, he could still scare them. Zhang Chen said, yes, I am still short of security manpower, so we don't dare to have any accidents at this exhibition. Both Zhang Chen and Zhao Xian know the importance of this exhibition to them. Art museums are just like painters. A good painter must have several famous works of his own, and a good art museum must also have several famous works. With good and substantial exhibitions, their museum is now well known in China, but abroad, almost no one knows about it. An exhibition like the Andy Warhol Works exhibition can be included in the introduction of their oil painting gallery, and it will make foreigners look at it with admiration. This will be very beneficial to the future international cooperation of their art gallery. During the event, the US-China Cultural Foundation will also invite many Western media to report on it. Zhang Chen and Wen Wen got out of the car and went to the Hangzhou Women's Wear Exhibition Hall first. Ji Ling and several designers were helping to set up the exhibition here, and Xiao Wu was also here. Seeing Zhang Chen coming, Ji Ling came over. Zhang Chen asked her, "There are only a few days left, is it too late?" Ji Ling said yes, the layout has basically been completed, but some local adjustments need to be made. Master, take a look and see if there are any changes that need to be made. Zhang Chen said yes, let's take a walk together. Xiaofang called Zhang Chen. This past Christmas holiday, Xiaofang drove Zhang Xiangbei for more than 300 kilometers from New York to Boston to visit the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Middlesex County. Look. On the way back, they went to Yale University again. Xiaofang went to visit her teachers and clients. Some of the funds of Yale University were entrusted to Xiaofang for investment. Xiaofang and Zhang Chen said, "Brother-in-law, Bai Bei has already made up his mind, and he still wants to go to Yale." Although Xiaofang and Zhang Chen had talked about it many times, Zhang Chen still had some doubts in his heart. He asked, "Xiaofang, can Zhang Xiangbei really be admitted to Yale?" Xiaofang chuckled and said, "Brother-in-law, you are so, that's right. You haven't seen Bai Bei for such a long time. Of course you don't know him. It doesn't matter which university Bai Bei wants to study in. It's even more important to study at Yale. No problem, my recommendation worked." Zhang Chen chuckled and said, "It's not that I don't believe in Zhang Xiangbei, it's that I don't believe in myself. When I was studying, my grades were very bad. After junior high school, I didn't seem to be able to pass 80% in any exam. Impossible." Xiaofang laughed and said, "I understand, brother-in-law, you suspect that your genes are bad, right?" "Yes, I understand," Zhang Chen said, "if Zhang Xiangbei can get into Yale, he must have inherited it from his mother. People in your family are very good at studies, and Xiao Zhao should be too, right?" Xiaofang was right. I remember when I was a child, my sister's academic performance was always very good, but later, she did not take the college entrance examination and went out to work before graduating from high school. It was not for me and Xiaoshu." Xiaofang said, her voice lowered, and Zhang Chen quickly said, "Your sister is very good." Later she took the self-study exam. Not only did she pass every exam, she also asked me to take the exam. I was actually afraid, but I pretended to be disdainful. I was afraid that I would do poorly in the exam. Being laughed at by your sister. Xiaofang laughed. She said, "I really didn't know this, and my sister never told me about it. She just said that you are a proud person. It turns out that this pride is all fake." "Yes, it's just pretending, Xiaofang, that's right. Zhang Xiangbei must have inherited it from his mother, no wonder," Zhang Chen said. "What's the wonder, brother-in-law?" Xiaofang asked. "No wonder he has no interest in painting at all," Zhang Chen said. Xiaofang smiled and said, "Not only is he not interested at all, but he is disgusted. I have asked him to take him to the Metropolitan Museum several times, but he refused to go. I said that there is no New Yorker who has never been to the Metropolitan Museum. What do you think he said? What did he say? He said, 'I'm not from New York, I'm from Hangzhou.' What's so good about those paintings? I didn't have a camera at that time and I had no choice but to draw. Now that I have a camera, no matter what portrait or landscape, click. He took the picture right away, so why should he paint? He said that you and Ziyashu are both out of date and self-proclaimed artists. I told him that the metropolis not only has works of art, but also many cultural relics worth seeing, such as the Danda temple. He said that those shabby things can smell musty even when I look at them. Whatever is good looking, if it were good looking, they would still be in their original place and would not be placed in a museum. Kilimanjaro is very beautiful. Have they put it in a museum? The Great Wall is spectacular, and the African savanna is spectacular. They are not all in their original places and have not been put in museums. They can all be dismantled and put in museums. They can all be dismantled, there is nothing to miss, brother-in-law, what he said makes sense, right? What's right is nonsense. That's right, he said you were also full of nonsense. Xiaofang laughed, when I saw that video of yours, where you said on stage that Qingtai Street and Chengjian Railway Station should not be demolished. He only said that you would offend in addition to people, there is another attributive, which is nonsense. He said that if there is anything that should not be demolished, it should be demolished if it is not suitable. How can it be built without demolition? If this and that could not be demolished, humankind would not have progressed. We would still be living in caves today, not even building thatched houses, and everyone would still be running around naked in the woods. He said that the Bamiyan Buddha in Afghanistan was blown up by the Taliban. It was so exciting. Everyone said how amazing the Buddha was. But what happened after it was blown up? Who lost a piece of meat in Bamiyan? If the Buddha is gone, it will be gone. Everyone should still eat and drink. By the way, brother-in-law, he has another suggestion. What suggestions? Zhang Chen asked. He said that for places like Qingtai Street, you only need to take photos before they are demolished, so that people like you who like to see old houses can just hold the photos and have fun when they want to see them, Xiaofang said. This illiterate, terrorist Zhang Chen scolded, fortunately, he will not be an official in the future. If he became an official, the whole city would be ruined by him and we don't know what it would look like. Then you two will have a huge quarrel at home every day, right? Xiaofang said. Zhang Chen said yes, it would be more intense than Lao Zhang and me. That's weird, Zhang Chen muttered. What's weird? Xiaofang asked. He just inherited it from his mother. His mother was not as reactionary as him. Zhang Chen said. Xiaofang laughed on the other end of the phone. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly votes from Jing Jing Bookworm, Evergreen Emperor Yan, Hu, Without a Trace, Ming Xin Xing, Qian Qian Dad, Zhenwu Long Yi, and Book Friends 0910261531555820. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1609. Brother-in-law, there is one more thing I want to tell you. Earlier Xiaofang said on the phone. Zhang Chen said yes, Xiaofang, you say it. After Baibei goes to college, I want to return to China. Xiaofang said, I haven't told my parents about this, nor have I told Baibei. After Baibei goes to Yale, he can truly be independent. Xiaofang, did something happen at work? Zhang Chen asked. No, it's all good. But if you continue to stay like this on Wall Street, if you can't get ahead, you will just keep working for others. Xiaofang said, Wall Street is a Jewish world. Don't call me a Chinese. I am a non-American in the United States. Jewish white people will not have a chance to get ahead, and those who have even a little bit of success will be killed by the Jews. Zhang Chen said, so that's it, then you can come back. Well, there are quite a lot of opportunities in China now, Xiaofang said, not to mention several of my clients, they also hope that I can return to China and find new investment channels for them. Zhang Chen agreed, then you can go according to your own plan. By the way, Xiaofang, will you be in Shanghai or Hangzhou when you come back? It must be in Shanghai, Xiaofang said. Zhang Chen said yes. After hanging up Xiaofang's call, Zhang Chen sat there and thought for a while. He understood that it wasn't just today that Xiaofang knew that Wall Street was dominated by Jews. It certainly wasn't just today that she wanted to come back. The reason why she had been still stay in the United States entirely because of Zhang Xiangbei. Since Xiao Zhao's death, Xiaofang, the aunt, has been taking on the responsibility of taking care of Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Chen remembered that it was Xiaofang who first suggested that Zhang Xiangbei go to the United States to study and brought Zhang Xiangbei with him. Now, Zhang Xiangbei is about to go to college and leave New York for New Haven. Xiaofang can rest assured that she can go her own way according to her own ideas. Zhang Chen sighed, feeling a little moved. Zhang Chen picked up the phone and called Tan Shehen. He asked Tan Shehen when the house he had booked for Xiaofang from Laowan could be handed over. It was enough years ago. What happened? Tan Shehen asked. I will decorate it as soon as I get it. After Zhang Xiangbei goes to college this year, Xiaofang may be ready to return to China, Zhang Chen said. That's great, Zhang Chen. All you need to do is take out the design drawings and leave the decoration to Laowan. Tan Shehen said. Zhang Chen agreed. Zhang Chen, when Xiaofang comes back, you will have an extra helper, Tan Shehen said. What kind of help do I need? Zhang Chen said. She is also busy with her own career when she comes back. You are so stupid, Tan Shehen scolded. What does Xiaofang do? She manages money and finds ways to make money. Xiaofang won't help manage your money. Zhang Chen chuckled and said that was true. After hanging up Tan Shehen's call, Zhang Chen looked at his watch. It was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. Zhang Chen thought that he was going to Shanghai tomorrow. It would take more than a week before he came back. Zhang Chen stood up and walked out. Walking to the yard and looking up, the foreign trade company upstairs was brightly lit, and Zhang Chen walked up. When Su Qiaxin saw Zhang Chen coming, he shouted, "Boss, it's so rare that the Imperial Commander personally conquered it." Screw you, you're using words indiscriminately. The Imperial Commander's personal expedition is a war, and I'm here to kill you, Zhang Chen scolded. Su Qiaxin giggled and said, "Okay, I used it wrong. It's a private visit incognito. Is that okay? Please take a seat. I have nothing important to do right now. I can receive you in an hour." "Thank you, Your Majesty," Zhang Chen said, and Su Qiaxin laughed. Zhang Chen sat down and chatted with Su Qiaxin about the business situation, and then asked about the shipment situation of the factories below, especially the situation at Zhao Zhigang's place. He knew that Su Qiaxin would go to Zhao Zhigang's place 2 or 3 times a month. Su Qiaxin and Zhang Chen said, they are quite good there. Everyone is highly motivated. The most important thing is that most of the workers came from Xiaosha Belt, and the quality of the products has not declined. So far, the goods shipped out have been, I haven't received any complaints from customers yet. Zhang Chen nodded and said, that's good. That's it? Su Qiaxin hesitated. That's what you say, Zhang Chen said. That dead Zhao's Hailong seems to be different now than before, Su Qiaxin said. What's up with him? It's rather arrogant. It's as if he is in charge of that factory and not Zhao Zhigang. He keeps talking about whatever I say to that dead Zhao Zhigang. I don't think Zhao Zhigang can do anything about it, Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen frowned slightly and said nothing. This damn Zhao's Hailong, it turns out that he is a little afraid of you. When he got down there, he probably felt that you couldn't control him now, so this guy became rampant. As Su Qiaxin said, Zhang Chen sighed secretly. He felt that what Su Qiaxin said was basically right. It turned out that he was in Xiaosha. No matter what, he was the boss after all. Zhao's Hailong would of course be a little afraid when he saw him. Now he himself, if you are the boss, you will feel a little swollen, which is normal. Zhang Chen said, their brothers have their own way of getting along. I think Zhao Zhigang can still protect his younger brother. No, that damn Zhao Zhigang is too honest, Su Qiaxin shouted. Zhang Chen laughed and said, oh, this is the first time I heard you say that Zhao Zhigang is honest. Originally, that dead Zhao Zhigang and Kaidi are both very nice people and too honest. I think that dead Zhao Zhilong was led astray by his wife. His wife no longer works as a lathe now and has gone to the finance department. The department says she's in charge of finances, but she actually doesn't know anything about it, and she can't read reports. She keeps making mistakes when keeping accounts, and she has a bad temper. When others point out what she's done wrong, she gets mad. Su Qiaxin couldn't help but curse. Zhang Chen shook his head, stood up and walked out. Zhang Chen went downstairs, passed through the small door, and walked to the e-commerce department in front to take a look. He didn't see Xili. Li Wei told him that Xili had gone to Gongchen Bridge and had not come back yet. Zhang Chen walked back to his office. After thinking for a while, he picked up his bag, turned off the lights and door of the office, and walked downstairs. He decided to go to Gongchen Bridge to have a look. Zhang Chen drove the car while still thinking about what Su Qiaxin told him earlier. He felt very uncomfortable and a little self-blame. He felt that the current attitude of Zhao Zhilong and his wife was more or less related to the distribution of shares at that time. At that time, Zhao Zhilong proposed that the family should share 30%, and Zhao Zhigang agreed. That was because he and Kaidi were kind, and they were probably too embarrassed to say no. But at that time, Zhang Chen now thinks about it, he should be the difficult one and stick to his original idea. Zhao Zhigang, Kaidi, and Zhao Zhilong should allocate 20% of the shares to each other. Zhao Zhilong's wife should not let it go she became a shareholder. If a person wants to be able to expand, then things falling from the sky and obtained for nothing will make her expand even more. Only then will she cherish what she has earned so hard, knowing that it is not easy for her to earn. Zhang Chen sighed. The matter has come to this, and there is no other way. I hope they can be like what he said, and their brothers can find their own way to get along with each other. After all, they are brothers. Zhang Chen was a little confused when he thought about this. He thought that although he, Lu Ligan, and Meng Ping were not brothers, when the other party was in trouble, they would go all out to help. Why do so many brothers, on the contrary, for a little benefit, they will haggle over everything, and even fight, and brothers will turn against each other? Don't they know that those who can become family members and brothers are unique in the universe and are the result of the creation of heaven and earth? What's there to argue about? Zhang Chen shook his head. Zhang Chen walked into Xili's office. Xili was sitting there writing a craft list. Xiaojin was sitting at the desk opposite her, and he was actually playing table tennis. When he saw Zhang Chen come in, Xiaojin said, "Should I avoid it?" Before Zhang Chen spoke, Xiao Li said, "Of course, we adults are talking, what are your children doing around here?" In fact, Xiao Jin is older than Xiao Li. Xiao Jin said okay, stood up quickly, and wanted to walk out the door. "Stop, stop!" Xiao Li shouted. Xiao Jin stopped, turned around and looked at Xiao Li. Xiao Li said suspiciously, "Are you hoping that I will kick you out and you will be free?" Zhang Chen laughed, and Xiao Jin also laughed. He said, "Yes, I won't go out, and I will chat with brother Zhang Chen." "Go away," Xili scolded, "take the cloth tape and let me continue to beat it in the workshop. Come back and check it for me. Don't cheat, don't be lazy. I know how many buckles I can make in 10 minutes. I have something on my hand. If you do, you won't have too many hands and feet." Xiao Jin came back, swept the cut pieces of cloth tape on the table into a plastic bag, picked it up and walked out. Zhang Chen smiled at Xiao Li and said, "Back then, I was still the overlord of Yongcheng. I didn't expect that you would teach me to be obedient. Yeah, well, I have a father here who is the overlord of Yongcheng. He won't accept it, Xiao Li said. Zhang Chen knew she was talking about Xiao Wu and laughed. Zhang Chen sat down and asked Xiaoli, how are you doing here? It's a bit of a headache, Xiaoli said. What's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. The Spring Festival is coming soon, and I learned that almost 30 people will not come again next year, Xiaoli said. It's hard to find sewing workers in Hangzhou now. Zhang Chen nodded and said, it's not only difficult to recruit sewing workers, it's also difficult to recruit any kind of job now. There are more sewing workers, Xiao Li said. When have we ever worried about not being able to recruit people in the past? Zhang Chen said yes, indeed. In recent years, everyone has been saying that it is difficult to recruit workers, and it is getting more and more difficult. Zhang Chen has analyzed this matter. He thinks there are several reasons. First, the university has lowered the threshold and expanded enrollment every year, which has eliminated many people who may have come out to work. All recruited to the university. Second, the original factories were almost all concentrated in the eastern coastal cities. Workers from all over the country, especially those from the central and western regions, went to the eastern coastal cities. Now the economies of the places where these workers are exported have also developed and large-scale construction has begun. Various development zones are specially built, and the labor force is transformed nearby and no longer comes out. This is why people like Zhao Zhigang and others do not have difficulty recruiting workers. There is another thing that the media will not report, but Zhang Chen feels that it exists objectively, that is, a large population has been organized into the underworld. There are still many people coming to the city every year, but many of them, women, go to various entertainment venues and special industries such as shampoo and massage parlors, while men no longer look for jobs and just hang out in the city. In the past few years, debt collection companies, large and small, have sprung up like mushrooms after a rain, and each of them has a lot of minions like this. There are many female workers in Zhang Chen's garment factory. In the past, there were always many beautiful girls every year. Now, there are fewer and fewer. There are only a few who have worked for a month or two and then quit. When asked, no, most of them were called away by fellow villagers and went to some entertainment venues or special industries. Zhang Chen and his clothing company have difficulty recruiting sewing workers for special reasons. First, there are many female workers. They are little girls when they come out, but little girls will grow up. After working for a few years, they will be old enough to get married and have children. I won't come out after I get married. In the past, some female workers in their factory would come back every 1 or 2 years. After they got married and gave birth to children, they left their children with the elderly and went out to work themselves. Now, because there is a factory near their home, a large number of people go to these factories. Although the wages are relatively low, they can take care of their families and children, so they are still reluctant to leave. Another important reason is that compared with other industries, sewing was a technical job with high wages. Now, wages in other industries have caught up. Even small workers on construction sites cost more than 100 yuan a day. With a salary, who would spend that much effort to learn to sew? Sewing workers are so hard, much harder than ordinary factory operators. I ask them all to go back. When they come out, if they see any of their fellow villagers who want to come with them, they can bring them over, Xiaoli and Zhang Chen said. Zhang Chen said yes. Thank you. Yuanlei is your W, Kankanshan Shui, Book Friends Scooter, PCM 600812, Jurjishao's monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1610. Wen Wen went to Taili to hand over the contract and walked to Lu Qing's office. Lu Qing was not there. There was only a little girl inside. The little girl told Wen Wen that Lu Qing and the others had already gone to Shanghai and she was staying behind. Wen Wen said to the little girl, "Hurry up, I'm starving, go to your canteen and treat me to a meal." The little girl stood up with a smile and led Wen Wen to the CCTV canteen for lunch. After lunch, Wen Wen and the little girl hugged each other goodbye. They arrived at the underground parking lot and drove out. When they drove on the road, they felt a little sleepy and yawned repeatedly. Wen Wen yawned and then cursed, "I'm going to die." Later, she laughed at herself. She returned to Beijing last night, and Qian picked her up at the airport. When she returned to the community where they lived, it was already past 12 o'clock. The two of them went to have a late-night snack, drank some wine, and then went home to take a shower and sleep. "Come on, it's almost 2 o'clock." Wen Wen looked at her watch. It was only a little after 12 o'clock, so it was still early. She saw a row of public parking spaces on the roadside in front of her. Wen Wen drove to the side and stopped. She put down her seat and took out her mobile phone. When the alarm clock was set to 2:10, she fell down and reached out to take it from the passenger seat. Downcoat, covering the body. It was a bit windy outside today, but the sun was shining brightly in Beijing at noon, making the inside of the car warm and comfortable. Wen Wen fell asleep after a while. The toll collector wearing a sky blue uniform and collecting parking fees was standing more than 10 meters away. He saw the car stopped, but the people in the car never got off. He was a little curious, so he walked over and saw a pretty girl inside. Her head tilted to the side, she had fallen asleep in the sun, probably because she was afraid that the sun would be too dazzling. She even took out a tissue and covered her eyes. But half of the tissue had slipped away, and there was one closed eye, completely exposed to the sun. This strange look made the toll collector couldn't help but smile. He tried the door handle with his hand. The door was locked from the inside and was safe, so he walked away. The alarm clock woke Wen Wen up. At this time, the sun had reached the roof of the car and moved away from her face. Her face was a little cold. She took her hands out of the downcoat, rubbed them vigorously, heated her palms, and then snapped, "Put it on your cheek." He took his hands away, blinked twice, then straightened the seat, put the down jacket covering himself on the passenger seat, opened the door, and stood there looking left and right. When the toll collector saw her, he ran over quickly and asked, "Are you awake?" Wen Wen said, "Wake up. Did you sleep comfortably?" Wen Wen smiled and said, "It's comfortable, more comfortable than in bed. It would be nice if the sun was brighter." The toll collector smiled and said, "Then the sun will get bigger and you can sleep again." Wen Wen said, "Yes, then I will sleep for 2 more hours." Wen Wen paid the parking fee, waved goodbye to the toll collector, got in the car, started the car, and drove towards Baidian. She was going to pick up Xiangnan. At 4 o'clock, she met a director and then talked to the producer. Dinner with investors. The director has already met with Wen Wen and Xiangnan once, and has decided to cast Xiangnan as the female lead in this film. Today he met with the investors again. The investors nodded and agreed, and the film can officially start filming. The director told Wen Wen that it didn't matter. The investors had already seen Xiangnan's photos and the movies and TV series she had made, and they had basically approved it. "I happened to be in Beijing on a business trip these 2 days, so we met and officially finalized the matter," said the director. Wen Wen said yes. Wen Wen took Xiangnan, left Beijing Film Academy, followed Zhejiang Road, went straight into Zizhuman North Street, passed the North 2nd Ring Road, entered the West 2nd Ring Road, kept going straight, past the Central Conservatory of Music and turned right to Tianning Saikiao, go straight into Lianhuashi East Road, then drive to Lianhuashi East Road Auxiliary Road, turn left into Nanfengguo Road, keep to the right and enter Guanglian Road. Finally, we turned right and entered Lianhuahutong. After driving about 100 meters, we reached the place where the director said. Wenwen stopped the car outside a courtyard wall. The two of them got out of the car and walked 4 or 5 meters forward to a door. When they got closer, they saw a small sign nailed to the door, which read Jiangnanyi is 3 words. The black wooden door was deliberately modeled. The shape of the door was very similar to the door of a landlord's house in the Jiangnan area in the past. Wenwen remembered that the door of an old landlord's house in their hometown was like this. The dark door was half open and half closed, and there was no one at the door. Wenwen led her to the south. When she entered the door, she saw that there was a cave inside. A large pool was dug in the yard. There were rock eyries, swimming fish, and residual lotus in the pool. A winding wooden corridor spanned the pool. Above the wooden corridor, there is a roof with rafters and tiles, and the wooden corridor leads to a row of houses behind. In the north, there are gardens in the south of the Yangtze River, probably based on the 3 words Jiangnan Station. Yi probably has the same pronunciation as memory, but they don't know. If it was the real Jiangnan Station, it should be a stable, so stinky. Wenwen and Xiangnan walked inside, walked through the winding corridor, and entered the house. At this time, a little girl wearing a blue and white floral printed homespun cloth, something Qian and others would wear when they danced tea-picking dance, came up to them timidly and asked them who they were looking for. When the little girl opened her mouth, she spoke with a pure northeastern accent, which was a bit incompatible with the Jiangnan cloth and the environment. Wenwen almost laughed. Wenwen reported the name of the director, but the little girl didn't answer. She turned around and walked into the corridor. The corridor was a little dim, and Wenwen and Xiangnan followed her. It's still winter, but the pants this little girl is wearing are only as long as her calf, with a section of white exposed underneath. Even though the house is heated, it's still cold when she's dressed like this. No wonder she shrinks her hands and feet, and she's frozen. Wherever the body can stretch, where can a smile appear on the face? Walking to a door, the little girl reached out and pushed it. The door opened, and a white light fell from the door. The little girl retreated to the door. Wenwen and Xiangnan walked over and saw the director and a man in his 30s sitting on opposite sides of a square table drinking tea. Wenwen and the others were passing by behind the lattice window of that pool. When the director saw them arriving, he greeted them and asked them to sit down. The man opposite looked at Xiangnan up and down, and kept watching as she and Wenwen took off their down coats and hung them on the coat rack in the corner. The director looked at him and he nodded towards the director, indicating that Xiangnan had a good face and figure and was the person they were looking for. The director introduced them to each other. Only then did Wenwen and Xiangnan know that the man's surname was Yang and he was the producer of the film. Producer Yang and Wenwen Xiangnan said that they were all from the same family and called me Yang. Just bro. Wenwen and Xiangnan called him brother Yang. When Xiangnan called him, they thought of Yanko. Isn't that what old ladies dance? When thinking about it, Xiangnan couldn't help but laugh. Brother Yang looked at her, Xiangnan blushed, and quickly suppressed his laughter. Everyone sat down to drink tea and chat. Brother Yang asked Xiangnan, I heard that you are from Hangzhou. Xiangnan is right. What a coincidence, our investor is also from Zhejiang, Xiaoshan, do you know, Brother Yang asked. Xiangnan quickly said that he knew. How far is Xiaoshan from your Hangzhou, Brother Yang asked. It's in Hangzhou, Xiangnan said. Xiaoshan was originally a county under Hangzhou. It was just merged into Hangzhou a few years ago and is now a district of Hangzhou. Haha, that's really fate. So you and Boss Chen are still from the same hometown, Brother Yang said with a smile. We didn't meet until we came to Beijing after traveling so far. Are you stupid? The director scolded. The airport in Hangzhou is called Xiaoshan Airport. You asked how far Xiaoshan is from Hangzhou. Wenwen and Xiangnan laughed wildly, and brother Yang said, I have never been to Hangzhou, how do I know the name of the airport? Brother Yang introduced to them that the investor in the film, Boss Chen, was the owner of a real estate company in Xiaoshan. Brother Yang told them a company name and asked Xiang Nan and Wen Wen if they knew it, and whether the company was located in Hangzhou. Very famous? Wen Wen and Xiang Nan looked at each other. Neither of them had heard of this company, especially Wen Wen. You must know that she is the veteran of real estate in Hangzhou. Back then, she and Qian followed Lu Ligan everywhere. When the old factory was acquired, most people in Hangzhou didn't even know what real estate was. Including several real estate companies in Hangzhou that followed later, they are now all ranked high. Not only does Wen Wen know about them, but even their bosses feel familiar to everyone when they meet. We used to go to relevant departments together to handle various matters. When going through the formalities, all the bosses came in person, except for Lu Ligan, who left it to Wen Wen and Qian. Wen Wen must have met the bosses of these companies, said hello, and they will be familiar with each other. As for the real estate company in Xiaoshan that brother Yang mentioned, Wen Wen must have never heard of it. However, there are so many real estate companies in Hangzhou now, and they are in Xiaoshan, so it is normal not to know. Wen Wen nodded and said, I know, Xiaoshan, how could I not know, he is so famous. Yeah, I just said yes. Brother Yang looked at the director. He held out 4 fingers and said excitedly to Wen Wen Xiangnan, Boss Chen is going to pay this amount as soon as he makes a move. He is going to spend 40 million, invest in our film. The director seemed to have thought of something. He took out the movie script from his bag, gave it to Xiang Nan, and told her, first familiarize yourself with the script. The investor has already read and approved the script. He will be sure to give it to her later. When you ask about the book, you know what's going on. Xiang Nan nodded, took the movie script, and started reading it quickly while the other 3 people continued to chat. Xiang Nan finished reading it and heard that the 3 people were still chatting about gossips in the film industry. Xiang Nan had no intention of participating in their chat, so she read the script from the beginning again, paying special attention to the part about the heroine and trying to figure it out in her mind. And analyzed the heroine's personality, growth experience, nature of work and the habitual actions she should have. Although there are many people in this world, they are just like leaves. Since no 2 leaves are the same, no 2 people are the same. Everyone has their own habitual actions. This habitual action is caused by the fusion of each person's genetics, personality, physical conditions, life experiences, work environment, etc., is formed over a long period of time. Xiang Nan realizes that in images, what can distinguish people most is a person's habitual movements, so before playing a character, Xiang Nan likes to figure out the character's habitual movements, so that you can in the film, even if the light is dim and the distance is far away, the audience will know that it is you. Xiang Nan feels that this is very similar to the back viewing play that her grandfather taught her before. It is a habitual movement and a character's unique body language. For example, Zhang Jiyi's swaying arm-shaped walking movement in Snail House is very close to the character's Song Siming. Everyone said it was a veteran cotter step. When it was almost 6 o'clock, Brother Yang's phone rang. He looked at it and said, Boss Chen is here. I will greet him. Who else? You go next door. I will take Boss Chen next door directly. The director known as that who said yes and threw the uneaten melon seeds in his hand into a ceramic bowl containing food waste. Thank you to Human Chair, Quadratic VC, and the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for the chair in the world, in gross 11, DTHBY, Hoo, Robin Granite, Iron-Blooded Hoeing, dedicated to Cao Xiaoman, Yunlong Frogfish, and Hao, Toad Dreaming of Flying, Frivolous, Pai Wuzun, My Heart Sinks for You, and monthly tickets that do not penetrate. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1611. The director led Wenwen and Xiongnan out of the room, turned left and walked to the end of the corridor. Then turned left and found another corridor. They walked to the door of the third room. The door was open. The director led Wenwen. When Xiongnan entered, there was a dining room with a round table. Outside the lattice window, there was the same pool they passed when they came in, but the window was blocked by a rockery. The director asked them to sit down, and Xiongnan sat next to Wenwen. The director said, "Stagger them. Why are we so close? There are only 5 of us. Wenwen, come and accompany me. Xiongnan, you will have a drink with Boss Chen later." Xiongnan blushed and said, "I don't know how to drink." The director looked at Wenwen and scolded, "How do you lead people? How can you be an actor if you don't know how to drink? Then if the role requires you to play the role of drinking too much, how do you experience that feeling?" Wenwen quickly said, "That's right, Nanan, you just think of it as experiencing life. The director is right, as an actor, you have to experience everything, not to mention drinking, you also have to experience drinking poison, right, director?" The director was amused by Wenwen. He said that of course he would not ask for poison, but he must be able to understand the feeling. Drinking is just the basic skill of an actor. In your school, teachers don't teach this anymore? Xiongnan shook his head and whispered, "No, the teacher never taught us to drink." The director scolded, "Now at Nortel, some rotten people are working as teachers. If the school doesn't teach them, then I'll be the only one to teach you. Just think of it as the first lesson. You've also read the script before, in which the female lead is there are quite a few scenes of drinking in number 1, right?" Xiongnan nodded and said, "Thank you, director." The voices of the 2 people were talking from far away to each other. A person with a southern accent asked, "What kind of place is this? Why does it look like this?" Brother Yang's voice said, "It's a club owned by a friend of mine. Usually, it's just for friends to come and chat and have fun." That's good, he said with a southern accent. The 2 people arrived at the door while they were talking. Wenwen and Xiongnan saw that coming with Brother Yang was a thin man in his 40s wearing a leather jacket. The director quickly stood up and said, "Hello, Boss Chen." Wenwen and Xiongnan also stood up. Brother Yang pointed to Nan and said to Boss Chen, "This is the heroine of our movie, and she is also from Hangzhou." "Oh, that's right." Boss Chen glanced at Xiongnan and asked, "Where is your home in Hangzhou?" Xiongnan said, "I'll live there by the Meisi River." "Oh, I know, that's the house developed by Lu Ligan and his friends. I'm very familiar with Lu Ligan," Boss Chen said. Xiongnan looked at Wenwen. Wenwen frowned and cursed in her heart, You are very familiar with Lu Ligan, why don't I recognize you? Come on, Boss Chen, sit down and talk." Brother Yang greeted and pointed to the seat on the south side. Boss Chen sat down, put a black Prada handbag in his hand on the table, and then placed a Virtu mobile phone on top of the handbag. "Wow, Virtu Constellation Quest, it just came out. How much is it?" "Is it 219,000?" Wenwen shouted. Boss Chen smiled lightly and said, "I don't know, it was a gift from a friend." "Why don't I have such friends?" Wenwen exclaimed enviously. Boss Chen laughed, picked up the phone, handed it to Wenwen and said, "You like it? If you like it, I'll give it to you." Wenwen quickly waved her hands and said, "I don't dare to use such an expensive mobile phone. I'm afraid of being robbed when I go out. This is only for you rich people." Everyone in the box laughed. Brother Yang was still standing behind Boss Chen. Boss Chen took off his leather jacket. Brother Yang quickly took it and hung it on the coat rack before returning to the round table. He sat down between the director and Boss Chen. Starting to formally introduce each other, Brother Yang and Boss Chen said, "This is Director Huang." He went on to introduce which films the director had made and which awards he had won. Awards that he had never heard of were all major awards. Director Huangda was the only Chinese director who could win this award. Then introduce Boss Chen to Wen Wen and Xiangnan. He is talking about Boss Chen. Needless to say about his strength, you all know it? Wen Wen quickly nodded and said, "I know, Boss Chen, I will go back to Hangzhou. If I want to buy a house, I will go to you and you must give me a discount." Boss Chen smiled lightly, "It's easy to say, you can choose from my dozen projects in Hangzhou. Pick your mother." Wen Wen cursed in her heart, "Who do you think you are if you give back more than a dozen projects in Hangzhou? Even splendid China doesn't have more than a dozen projects in Hangzhou." Wen Wen felt a little nervous. She looked at Boss Chen and felt that something that the director and producer said was so certain was a little unreliable. However, Wen Wen couldn't say anything at the scene. She could only say to Boss Chen, "Then we have an agreement. When I return to Hangzhou, I will definitely find you." Introducing Wen Wen again, Brother Yang said, "This is Wen Wen, a well-known agent in Beijing, and Xiangnan is an artist under her." Wen Wen said, "Yes, I am Wen Wen's agent." Everyone laughed. Brother Yang then introduced Xiangnan, saying that she was a top student from Nortel, a school beauty, and had filmed numerous movies and TV series. Boss Chen said, "I know, I have admired Miss Feng for a long time." When the food was served, the wine was filled. Everyone raised their glasses and clinked them first. The wine they drank was Maotai. Xiangnan thought the wine smelled bad, but he had no choice but to drink it. His throat was burning. Putting down the cup, the director began to introduce the film to be made to Boss Chen and what techniques he was going to use. Boss Chen raised his right hand and waved it, and said, "Director Huang, I know nothing except money. You don't need to introduce me. I can trust you. I will give you the money and you can do whatever you want. I just don't like to interfere with the work of my subordinates. Today I came and met Miss Feng, I am very satisfied, that is enough." Although the director was said to be his subordinate, he felt a little unhappy, but after hearing what Boss Chen said, he knew that the matter had been settled, and he felt very happy. Besides, they said that you should be allowed to express yourself freely, so why not? There are better investors than this one. The director raised his glass and said, "Okay, then I'll toast to Boss Chen." Then he said to Xiangnan, "Xiangnan, on behalf of our crew, come and have a drink with us." Xiangnan had no choice but to pick up the cup, turned around and clinked it with Boss Chen, took a sip, and put the cup down as he couldn't drink any more. The director shouted, "Xiangnan." Boss Chen looked at Xiangnan and asked, "You don't know how to drink?" Xiangnan nodded. Boss Chen said, "Yes, so don't force it." Boss Chen still cares about her. "Come, I'll drink with you." Wen Wen raised her glass to Boss Chen, then gestured to the director, raised her head, and all the wine in the glass was gone. Refreshing, Boss Chen praised and finished the wine. The director and Xiangnan said, "You see, you should learn more from Wen Wen in the future. As an actor, you can't do it if you don't know how to drink, and you can't do it if you don't measure it." Boss Chen smiled and said, "I'm still a college student, I understand." Brother Yang leaned over and asked Boss Chen quietly, "Boss Chen, when can our contract be signed?" "It'll be fine tomorrow morning," Boss Chen said. "By the way, the crew already has an account, right? I'll ask the finance department to call 40 million over tomorrow." Brother Yang quickly said, Yes, great, Mr. Chen. I have never seen such a cheerful investor like Mr. Chen." Boss Chen looked at Xiangnan and said with a smile, "It's nothing. I also want to see Miss Feng's wonderful performance as soon as possible." The matter was decided, everyone continued to drink and eat, and the private room was having a good time. Halfway through the process, Brother Yang winked at the director. The director understood and said to Ween Wen. Ween Wen, let's go and implement Xiangnan's performance contract. Ween Wen said, what's the rush? We can just talk about it tomorrow. Brother Yang said, hey, Boss Chen moves fast here, and we need to move fast too. The performance contract is confirmed, and Xiangnan can make arrangements early and ask for leave from the school early. The director scolded Ween Wen, I have never seen an agent like you. They are always urging me to negotiate a performance contract. You want me to urge you in turn. Ween Wen giggled, I can't trust you. However, Ween Wen still stood up and said to Xiangnan, the director and I went over to talk about something. You are here. If you need anything, come to me. It's in the box where we have tea in front of you, right, director? The director is right. Xiangnan nodded. The director and Ween Wen stood up and walked out. Brother Yang and Xiangnan said, come on, Xiangnan, your female lead has been decided. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Xiangnan quickly said, thank you, Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen waved his hand and said, it's nothing. Xiangnan, with Mr. Chen as your backer, your stardom will be bright. Brother Yang said, Mr. Chen has already expressed to me that he will definitely make you popular. Mr. Chen smiled lightly and said, that's because Miss Feng has the potential to become a superstar. I can only do my little bit. Hurry up, Xiangnan, you are still disrespecting Boss Chen, you mean that? Brother Yang said. Xiangnan raised his glass, stared at the wine glass in front of him, and frowned. Boss Chen laughed and said, same as usual, I'll finish drinking and you can do whatever you want. Xiangnan said gratefully, okay, thank you, Boss Chen. The two clinked their glasses, Xiangnan took a sip, and Boss Chen drank it all in one gulp. Brother Yang clapped his hands, stood up and said to Xiangnan, Xiangnan, please stay with Boss Chen. I'll go over and see how their contract is being implemented. Brother Yang stood up and walked out. Only Boss Chen and Xiangnan were left in the box. Xiangnan sat there, feeling a little cramped. Boss Chen stretched out his hand and patted Xiangnan's hand. Xiangnan quickly retracted his hand as if being touched by electricity, and his face turned red instantly. Boss Chen smiled slightly. He thought this little girl was so innocent and she didn't look like someone from the movie industry at all. Boss Chen thought she was too cute. The man named Yang was indeed right. Boss Chen and Xiangnan said, don't worry, if you follow me from now on, I will take good care of you. Xiangnan was confused and didn't know what he was talking about. I will keep you going to Cannes and the Oscars. I have the ability, Boss Chen said. Xiangnan blushed, lowered his head and remained silent. He didn't know how to deal with the situation in front of him, but he was hoping that Ween Wen would come back soon. Boss Chen reached out and unzipped the Prada handbag, took out a bank card, put it in front of Xiangnan, and said to her, Ms. Feng, there is 1 million in this card, and the password is 4 zeros. Xiangnan turned to look at Boss Chen, not knowing what he meant. Boss Chen said, you spend this money first, and I will give it to you after you spend it. Xiangnan finally understood. His face suddenly turned red. He quickly shook his head and said, no, Boss Chen, I don't need money. Hey, when you go out, there will be people who don't need money. Be obedient and keep it well. Boss Chen said and put his hand on Xiangnan's shoulder. Xiangnan twisted his shoulder and threw his hand away. However, Boss Chen not only moved his hand but also his whole body. He hugged Xiangnan and put his face on it. Pasted toward the south. Rogue, Xiangnan shouted, and at the same time he raised his right hand and waved his hand to give him a big mouth. Thank you Taizongshan 1, PCM 600812, Zhizhib for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.